welcome to a little bit of an unusual one. Normally, role playing goes under our Hint Plays channel, and certainly, if you want to see it on a regular basis, that's where you should go every Sunday. However, I thought I would show people a little bit of some solo gaming, which is something that it doesn't get done all that often, but I think it is great fun, and if you're stuck there with nobody else, it's well worth a go. And at the moment, with everybody isolated, this scenario and its counterpart, the Vampire of Havana, is free to play. Now, these are under the Dark Eye. These are the Dark Eye RPG. I'm not going to try and pronounce the German name. Do I have a new microphone? Why? Scared now. Alexia, why do you ask that? It is indeed Magpie, free-to-play solo game. You may be able to hear tappity-typetying going on, which is not me.
I'm actually on live, am I?
You are
in
live,
that case,
yeah.
I won't type this, I will say it. Yeah, the two English language solo scenarios that they've done so far for the Dark Eye are not usually free. They usually do have a cost associated with them, but during this whole lockdown thing, both of them and also the core rulebook for the RPG, which is a full-on, full-color, 414-page tabletop role-playing game, are all pay what you want. So you can get them for absolutely nothing if that's what you want to try out the game and to have something to do while you're on lockdown.
Indeed.
I was going to type that, but since I'm actually on... I'd assumed I was muted while you did the intro.
Yeah, you were supposed to be muted. It kind of went wrong. But for some reason I am showing a fair bit of hiss on my audio, and I don't know why.
If I vanish, by the way, suddenly, it's because the cat is lying in my lap, but he has managed to lie on the microphone cable. So
Right.
if he moves the wrong way, he's going to pull the USB out of my microphone, which is not ideal. And I can't find a way to move him without just speeding that process along.
So we have cat problems. As we are wont to do.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's what we want. I think that's what we want to do. Yes, that's what we want to do. I have no idea why the audio is still showing as having background sound, but you know what? Fuck it. Okay. Oh, awkward, Alexia. That's going to make a mess. So, the Dark Eye is an extremely... hello to the people on stream, yes. The Dark Eye is an extremely popular game. It started in Germany, and we're now working off the translations. Now I sound like I normally do I? Right, good to know. No idea.
Strange.
No idea. But I can cope. Yeah, strange. This is why when you set up new scenes, you copy old ones rather than setting them up from scratch, because then you don't have to go through this.
Yeah. You just make the changes.
Ah, and if you're an idiot,
The problem with that
forget.
being, of course, that when you lose everything, it's been so long since you set up a scene from scratch that you've forgotten how it works.
Yes, that's the problem. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to run through this, and I'm going to have Fishy as basically the voice of God, for want of a better
Well, there
term.
are 12 gods. Which one am I supposed to be voicing?
So, my late lamented friend Fishy, who, if anyone has anything to say to him, probably best do it before.
Speak now or forever waste your time.
Yep. Will be providing the voice of the narrator.
Yes.
So,
Drat has given me the difficult job. I get to be the narrator, and logically, therefore, in true GM mode, everyone in the world except her.
yeah.
Tonight, Matthew, I will be Jeff Canada.
Yes, you are going to be everybody. So, we gloss over the maps.
I was going to suggest, actually, that you just pause on the map for a moment, because it is such a cool map.
It's a fantastic
map. This is a choose-your-own-style adventure.
Yeah.
This is the old Fighting Fantasy style turn to paragraph 62. There's no need for any map at all. But they have given you the full map of the... what is it? It's the Levangan Academy of Transformation.
It's the windows just had to turn. Map. Hang on a moment.
Oh, didn't it, though?
Whee!
Yeah, your screen's gone wonky.
That screen just went, no, we will not have it at the size you want it. We will put it at a totally different size. And you will like it. Right, okay, fine, we'll do that then.
Yep. One thing that I will say for Ulysses, and really I suppose this is for the original German parent company, because although I buy the American English language translations, the assets come from the original German. They do put work into production values. Everything looks fantastic. They produce soundtrack albums for their games that you can play at the table. I have two for the Dark Eye, one that came with the core rulebook as part of the Kickstarter and is available separately, and one that came with the Warring Kingdoms sourcebook, which is the sourcebook that covers the Chains of Satanav point-and-click game that Drat is playing on one of her other streams.
It's okay, you can call me Linda.
They've done the same with their other games. Torg, which is... Torg Eternity, I suppose, is actually down to the American side of the company, because that's an English language game to begin with.
That was West End Games.
But that, again, has the same production quality. Everything Ulysses make is fantastic.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Fish. That was West End Game, was...
Originally West End Games, yes. Yep. Greg Kostikian is indeed involved in the making of the new edition, as is, interestingly, Shane Hensley, creator of Deadlands and founder of Pinnacle Entertainment.
Yep.
Because before he ever made Deadlands, Torg was one of his favourite games. So when they were making a new one, he was one of the guys who just jumped on board. There's such a selection of names involved in that because they were fans of the original game back in the 90s.
Yep. Okay, so gorgeous map notwithstanding. Leave us progress to sepia-toned image of same person having stress.
Yeah, this is another thing they tend to do. On the inside of the modules and things, they quite often have that sepia-toned version of the full colour art from the front, which I think looks really nice, and I'm awfully tempted just to print off and stick on my wall.
So this was Kickstarter then? With thanks to all who helped create Aventuria, and they filled the sea with the names.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That is gorgeous.
I don't know whether the names on that are down to the Kickstarter, or because I've never actually bothered to try and read them.
Yeah.
And if they are, whether they were in fact from the Kickstarter for the German 5th edition. Wouldn't surprise me if this artwork comes from the German 5th edition.
Possibly Maxi Mini. I'm guessing that's not what they were called by their parents.
Probably not, no.
So, okay.
But the other alternative is that these names could actually just be people from the 30-odd year history of
Indeed.
the publication of the Dark Eye.
Okay. So I will just go through the intro and I won't make Fishy read this bit. Spellcasters are popular Dark Eye character choices. I have no idea what they're talking about, says the person who's created a battle mage. Hello.
And hello to people I haven't said hello to yet.
Yes. But only two
I'm
of
not
the
sure
many...
who I haven't said hello to yet.
Yes, but only two of the many solo adventures published over the past 30 years focus specifically on mages. Previously, player character mages could only walk on the merciless path. No, I'm not trying to read the German. Had that on your chips.
Curses, foiled again.
Or wield a staff made of elm. These beloved adventures are long out of print, so we felt mages deserved another day in the sun. Conspiracy of Mages is set at a famous school of grey magic called the Lohengrin, it is now anyway, Academy of Transformation.
I've been pronouncing it Levangen, I must admit.
Levangen?
I tend to assume a V for the W on anything in Dark Eye.
Okay.
Just because I have a hideously bigoted stereotype of the German language in my head.
Might have to ask Meki. Meki, how do you pronounce Lowangen?
Speak of the devil.
Hello. I know, I spotted him.
The other thing, of course, is this is a fantasy world. They're pronounced however the heck we decide to pronounce them.
Indeed.
In all honesty.
The adventure takes place during final exams, a stressful time at the school. Fame and respect await all graduates, but a shocking crime threatens to end your character's career as a mage before it even starts. Your choices help decide your character's future. Can you unravel this fiendish mystery and still manage to graduate? How the hell do you spell what?
Well, we know how to spell it, Maggie. It's how you say it that we don't know.
While enjoyable by experienced players, this adventure is well suited for novice players with little knowledge of the Dark Eye, which is handy. Sidebars explain how to play the solo adventure, introducing the basic rules of the Dark Eye RPG as needed. The only exception is the procedure for combat, which is in the appendix, which is why I've given you basically the full window so you can see me bimbling back and forth if need be. So, basically, these are the rules for Choose Your Own Adventures. So you read each section as you are directed to it. Thank you, Magpie, that's helpful. And apparently there's an echo.
Yeah, beaten to it there. I wasn't looking at the chat while I was typing. I'm one of those people who has to look at my keyboard.
Don't worry about it, Meki. We're being daft. I need a pencil, apparently, to keep track of things. Alternatively, hopefully the PDF will keep track of it for me, but equally, I'm going to have just a notepad open.
Will.
Yeah.
Both this and Vampire of Havana come in two forms: the standard PDF and the clickable PDF. The clickable PDF is obviously hyperlinked, so that instead of having to flick through and find paragraph 67, you can just click where it says go to paragraph 67 and it takes you there.
Yep.
And also anything you need to keep track of along the way, such as, for example, time checks, things like that, are actually built into the PDF itself, so you can just click them on there. And then there is a reset form on the top left there in the bookmarks. Top bookmark will just clear all of those marks from the PDF so you can use it again.
Yep. Yes, we did scroll past it. It's fine. I'm going to stick with the same one, although my character in the Dark Eye didn't actually go to that school. I don't think. My mage went elsewhere.
This is in a completely different place. Your character went to the it was a school of white magic, but I can't believe you remember the name of the school now.
You never said I'd need D6s, Fish.
Did I not? No, I didn't mention D6s. I got distracted by the multicoloured D20s. The Garrett Academy of Sword and Staff. That's where you went. Not that I've got the major professions portion of the core rulebook open in front of me at the moment, and in any way, shape, or form. If you wanted to look up the Grey Mage, by the way, they're on page 150.
Fair enough. Okay, so yeah, I mean, hyperlinked PDFs are lovely anyway, and they have done such a good job. I've only had a quick look at this because I didn't want to spoil myself. So
what I didn't mention, I have mentioned it in the Discord, I know, but I didn't mention it on here when I was saying earlier about them making this stuff pay what you want at the moment. Being monolingual and pathetic, I have not actually checked, but I would assume that the original German language versions will also pay what you want at the moment. So that's at least these two solo scenarios and the core rulebook.
Yeah, I haven't looked, I will confess. Because, again, monolingual.
It would seem a strange thing to do, to give them away in English and not give them away in German.
Indeed.
Unless they just assume all the Germans have already got them.
So, Aventuria is just one of many continents on the fantasy world of Dare or Dera, which is the setting of the Dark Eye. So, the Midden Realm, an assembly of duchies and allied provinces, is arguably the most powerful human empire in Aventuria. The city of Levangan, we're there again.
I've been pronouncing it Levangan.
Lies outside the Midden Realm.
It's fantasy realm, whatever you want to call it.
Basically, this is the Midlands. So everybody should sound like they're Brum. They're all from Birmingham.
Yeah, I can understand that, Meki. I can understand that.
Because a black eye is an injury, Meki.
Yeah, that would just, people would laugh at that name in English, unfortunately.
Yeah, a black eye indicates you've been punched.
Yeah.
Sits outside the Midden Realm in an area called the Svelte Valley, a river valley with a temperate climate, good soil and reliable harvests. Orcs conquered the valley several years ago and now rule it with an iron fist. Levangan is the only exception. This prosperous city secures its relatively peaceful autonomy by paying a hefty annual tribute to the Orc chieftains. Gotta love organised invading armies. The city boasts two famous magical academies, one of which, the Levangan Academy of Transformation, is the backdrop for this adventure. This prestigious school specialises in magic that alters the properties of living creatures. Citizens of Levangan often incorrectly refer to the Academy's students as scholars. Okay, what are they if they're not scholars?
They're mages. Although, actually, there's a whole bunch of titles depending on where you are in your study, which is found at the bottom of the next page. Or the bottom of the page you're on, even.
Yep, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just realised that
I would suggest that the stuff on things like currency and distance are not going to be important. I don't think it's going to matter that the Dark Eye uses kilometers with a different name, given that, as far as I'm aware, this entire scenario takes place inside the academy.
Yeah. Yeah, they're nerds, apparently.
Nerds, yeah. That is the correct term for a student mage, is a nerd. Yes, correct.
Ah, interesting. In German, it's a blue eye for the injury. Fair enough. As opposed to a black eye.
Yeah.
Right. We'll skip over that. So, first sidebar, protection rating, or PRO, is an abstract measure of physical damage a suit of armour, spell or shield can absorb. Damage reduction, armour class, it's all in that context.
I will say now that the Dark Eye is a nicely crunchy game system. So for people who are used to something like, say, Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, which even among Dungeons & Dragons games is rules light, I've got what used to be called basic D&D, so that I started with back in the 80s. Basic D&D has more advanced rules than D&D 5th edition, let alone advanced Dungeons & Dragons, which is what I'm running when I get back to it.
Okay. So, the student titles, we have Elve, or Elva, and Novice, Studiosa, Candidata, Scholaria, Adepta Minor, Adepta Maya, which even I know only means major, and Magus, or Mega, or just Mage, for the upper
I will
sixth.
tell you now that I am going to be using the Elve, did you pronounce that for the student?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be using that pronunciation because I've got no clue how you'd say that.
Yep.
So quite happy to be able to just steal yours.
Hey, I'm going with that.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds right to me, because you can see by looking at the later ones that they, for mages in the Dark Eye, they're big into the kind of pseudo-Latin.
Yeah.
Guy with cats all over him. Yeah, that's a brilliant picture, isn't it?
Exam day. Are you okay? Are you going to read the
This
narration?
is
Or...
now me.
That's you.
So
All right.
yeah, okay, you ready? You ready
Go
to go?
for it.
Did you want? Okay, I'm assuming you're going to be reading along here. Did you want to very quickly take a flick to the back of the PDF and look at your character sheet before we start? Because you have one.
I
These
have one.
are full-on solo scenarios for the RPG, so they have complete characters in them, which could just be lifted straight out of these and run in a GM'd game just like anyone else.
Indeed. There we go. There's my character sheet. I have no
So-
name and I must scream.
Yes. What they have done is they've nicely left a lot of the details blank, so you're not restricted to playing with a particular name or even gender
Yep.
in this solo adventure. It doesn't matter. You're just an apprentice mage. That's the important part. I like that they've done that. So you have a set of attributes there in the middle. Those are courage, sagacity, intuition, charisma, dexterity, agility, constitution, and strength, if I'm remembering them correctly.
You are?
And these are on a roughly 1 to 20 scale. So if she needs to do something that is covered by one of those, she will roll a d20 to get equal to or less than that number.
Please don't make me do anything physical.
Skills, which are on the next page, are all handled by attribute checks. So in a similar way to the, say, in 5th edition, where if you want to do something that is covered by one of your skills, you'd actually roll an attribute check. So you'd be rolling, say, a dexterity check to try and pick a lock, and then you'd get a bonus from your proficiency with lock picking if you're a rogue. In this, each skill is covered with 3 attributes, and you would be rolling equal to or less than each of those 3 attributes.
Okay.
Your skill level does not affect the value on the dice that you roll. Instead, what happens is you can spend your skill ranks to nudge down die that has rolled too high on one of the attribute checks. So say, for example, you're rolling against courage on one of as the first attribute, and you roll a 14 against your 13 courage. 1 point from your skill, make that pass.
Mm-hmm.
If you run out of points and still haven't got down below all 3 of the skills, then you've failed the skill check. However many points you have left over determines how well you have succeeded at that skill.
That was it.
So if you just roll all 3 skills, all 3 checks underneath the attributes straight away, then your full skill rank goes into how well you've succeeded at that skill. Yeah. And the bigger your skill rank, obviously, therefore, the higher your base level of success is going to be before bad luck gets in your way.
Okay.
It's a slightly roundabout way of doing things, but from what little of it we've played so far, it seems to work quite nicely once you get the hang of rolling 3 times for every skill.
Yeah, and I have dice. I have 3d20s of different colours. So...
Yeah, the easiest way to do it is just to declare them 1, 2, and 3. Always roll them in the same order and roll all at the same time against the attributes in the order that they're listed on the character sheet.
That
because
works.
That saves you. Yeah, it speeds up considerably from having to roll the die 3 times.
I have.
You can see on the character sheet that each of the attributes is highlighted in a different color, and Ulysses actually make a dice set, which is a little leather dice cup with a die for each attribute in the appropriate color, so you can actually roll the right ones. It's no better than just rolling 3 different dice.
Nope.
But it's something else that they can sell, and it's a really nice dice cup, so I had to buy it.
Yeah. He didn't want to talk much this evening because he was going to be doing a lot of reading. Ah.
Yeah.
Anyone would think you're a Dark Eye fan.
I'm a bit of a fan of this game, yeah. Even though I've only run it once and have never played it, I just love the game.
Right. In my gear, I have got, on my thread I balanced, a helpful handbook of the Wandering Adept, a mage's robe, a mage's long staff, a city package, shoulder bag, 10 bandages, supplies for sewing wounds. How dangerous is this school? And 2 magic potions, 1 quality level 2, 1 quality level 3, which I think are both healing.
Interesting. I'm going to guess, since they're just labelled magic potion, I'm going to guess that they would be, in fact, restoring your magic points.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I'm sure that the scenario will tell us, but That would be my assumption, because this is a game that has like spell points that you spend every time you cast a spell. So
let's go for fit to width. Would people find that easier to read? Wow, okay, big print.
Good plan.
Having a make it handy is the way to go. It's already safer than Hogwarts.
Yeah, arcane energy, that's your skill points.
Yeah. Haven't played much in the Way of Dark Eye, but it explains more complexly than it plays. And that sentence isn't English.
Most games with any kind of crunch do. It's like Rollmaster. Everyone's convinced that Rollmaster is this hideous thing that's absolutely awful and goes horribly wrong at every moment because no one can understand any of the rules. But in fact, it's got exactly the same core mechanic as the D20 system, just using percentile.
Okay. So let's go back to exam day.
Right, yes, exam day.
Tell me a story, Fishy.
Are you frightened of the empty room or the prospect of what lies ahead? Either way, your churning stomach doesn't seem to care. The small bowl of millet gruel you ate for breakfast is not sitting well and you feel nauseated. Magistra Moonhair's cooking might be to blame, but what if this is no accident? After all, she delivered your breakfast, and she never did that before. Did she poison it and make sure you ate it? Did she hate you that much? Has Cinder's wisdom be with you? A man says softly. Do you detect a hint of concern in his voice, or are you imagining? You turn in your chair and stare up at the beaming face of Archmage Elkanah Erilon of Highstone, venerable dean of the Levangan Academy of Transformation. You greet him in the traditional manner, though perhaps a bit too slowly, and the old man's smile changes to a worried frown. He sighs deeply and says, Today is a big day, but you look like a mouse transfixed by a serpent. Fate sometimes takes unexpected turns, but it does not do any good to succumb to doubt, like a young elve who just failed to cast his first spell. A mage must trust in his skills. He stays aware of his situation, looks into his future with confidence, and acts as it is in his power. The old archmage leans in close to you, and several locks of his long white hair slip out from under his hat. A curled strand tickles your nose, and you suppress a sneeze. Well, you don't want him to think you've got COVID. Do not ever forget this. Act, he says. Then he straightens up, gives you an encouraging pat on the shoulder, and exits the room, leaving you alone with your thoughts. Go to section 65.
Okay.
You drop onto your bed, gazing up at the small chandelier you set swinging via the same cantrip you used to close the dorm room door.
I've just got to click on it. Right, okay. So I was showing the picture of the guy with the cats.
Man with the cats.
Yes.
Yeah. The chandelier chain creaks slightly. A mage trusts his skills, the dean said. You focus on your breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. A mage? Well, that's the problem. You're not yet a mage. Almost, but not quite. A mage trusts his skills. Inhale, exhale. That's your line.
Sorry, yes. I trust my skills.
You whisper to yourself. Pause to gather the facts as if describing a new plant in alchemy class. You attend the Levangan Academy of Transformation, where you are a studiosus, an 8th-year student. Well, to be precise, you are a candidatus, someone about to take the final exam. When you pass, you will be an adeptus, a full-fledged mage. You focused on your education and showed more ambition than any other student in your class. While others spent their rare free time socializing in town, you took advantage of the peace and quiet in the reading room. While others put forth the minimum effort necessary, you worked harder, studied more diligently, and conducted elective research whenever you had the chance. You felt the sting of your classmates' envy, scorn, and insults. Bookworm and Morpheus Slimeball being the least offensive examples. But your patience paid off. You will graduate with more points than the school's previous record holder, Magistra Mela Moonhair. She was the most proficient student in school history until you came along. Just one more day until graduation. Remind yourself you have nothing to worry about. Your heartbeat slows as you regulate your breathing.
I stay aware of my situation.
You say to the empty room, ordering your thoughts the way you were taught. You always pass tests with honours, and you always feel nervous beforehand, but today is different. You feel nauseated, of course, but this time you can't blame your excitement. This time, the fault belongs to Magistra Moonhair. Your trouble started the first time you attempted the final exam, 2 weeks ago. The final is a practical demonstration of spellcasting, performed for a panel of 3 professors. Students cast several spells of the panel's choosing in rapid succession. That day you felt a rare surge of optimism because you were well prepared and well rested. Then Magistra Moonhair served you a bowl of porridge that made you ill and caused you to miss the exam. At the time, you thought it mere coincidence. Magistra Moonhair looked upon you with suspicion from the day you enrolled at Levangan. She always demanded more from you, treated you curtly, and never failed to embarrass you in front of the other students. She is a former star pupil of the school. After graduating, she applied for a permanent position at the school. Her outstanding academic performance secured her the title of Deputy Dean. To put her in her place, you strove to be more talented and more dedicated than she. Your achievements soon challenged her reputation, but you never imagined she would poison your food. Thankfully, Archmage Erelon gave you permission to retake the exam. Now here you are, lying in bed on the last day of the school year with one last chance to graduate. Almost everyone else is in town enjoying a well-earned break. Your exam begins at the 10th hour.
I look into my future with confidence.
You say quietly, watching the chandelier swing gently back and forth. You decide to take a few moments before breakfast to prepare and maybe cast a practice spell or two before reporting to Magister Erelon to take the exam. Today, you graduate and earn the title of Adeptus.
I act as it is in my power.
You say in a determined voice as you climb out of bed.
And yes, welcome, Mollier.
Yes, greetings.
Greetings, and enjoy the unexpected bum.
Yeah. If you start with physical exercise, Drat, go to section 139. If you start by testing your mental focus, go to section 180.
Okay. I'm not sure. What do we think? I think a spot of yoga or something to start the day might help. That's just me. Right.
Oh, that's both of them, though. Which one are you doing?
Yeah, 139, thanks.
139 for physical exercise. Okay. As you perform your warm-up exercises, the words of Magistra Olya echo through your mind.
I'll do it.
A healthy mind lives in a healthy body. Oh, well then, fair enough. I'm not going to complain.
A healthy mind lives in a healthy body, she taught. Without dynamic tonus, you cannot perform spellcasting gestures. An unfit body cannot maintain a spell. Have you seen my stats? Really?
You've got nothing below average.
No, but my agility and strength are 10. I don't think she did a lot except read.
Considering how well you performed on your previous exams, your body must be healthy. You are quite sure you have sufficient muscle mass to perform transformation magic, but you doubt that dynamic tonus is your speciality. If you believe your classmates' taunts, you are as thin as a beanpole, and it is a miracle that a runt like you survived to adulthood. This may be true, as Levangan sits in a rough corner of Aventuria, and orcs live right outside the city gates. They rule the entire region, ignoring Levangan only because it's because its human and elf residents pay them a hefty tribute. A girl named Brynja once tried to boost your self-respect by saying that you were born slender because orcs do not look for foes behind saplings. Though you appreciated the sentiment, you never found that explanation particularly flattering. Something catches your eye through your little dorm window overlooking the street outside the school, and you pause to examine it closer. Glints of sunlight reflect from rain puddles in the road, reminding you of candles and happy memories from long before you enrolled at the school. You clear your mind and try to focus on the day ahead. As you turn away from the window, you spy your own reflection in the thick pane of glass. You hold up one arm and make a muscle, half-jokingly posing like an athlete. With a sigh, you admit you are not a perfect physical specimen. Brynja was right when she said you could hide behind a sapling.
In a sec. No, ooh, anybody else want that office? Yes, it's admiring people's furniture on Drut streams again.
Yay.
Happens a lot.
Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, though, you brim with confidence. You will pass today's exam with honours, and you will prove that you deserve a prestigious research and teaching position at the school. First, though, you must do everything you can to prepare. 10 push-ups will prove that you have dynamic tonus, whatever that means. assume the proper starting position for a push-up, lower yourself to the floor, raise yourself up again, and feel your arms start to shake. Yeah, but he's already done one with me.
I'm playing a woman. I have decided I'm playing a woman.
Okay, she's already done one more than me.
Yep. Okay.
Make a strength check. If it succeeds,
Right.
go to section 202. If it fails, section 38.
And helpfully, it tells me I need to roll 1d20, and the character has
There's
a
a nice
strength
little
of 10.
sidebar here, which is telling us what we need.
So my strength will be rolled on this nice, lovely pink d20. Just going to turn the other cheek. I think the bum and the guy with the cats is going to be the tone for the whole kind of game, isn't it?
Quite possibly.
That is... It's either a 6 or a 9. Hang on.
Well, either way, it's less than
That
10.
is a 9. On the grounds the 6 is next to it, and
So-
that has a dot.
Section 202.
Okay.
You manage one push-up, then a second one, and even a third. Feeling confident, you try a fourth. Make another strength check with a -2 penalty.
Oh, this is not going to work. I need 8s or less on a d20. This is not going to play. Oh, I'll get a 7. Don't use up all your good rolls early.
Well, while they're visible on screen because we're at the bottom of the page, can I just take a moment to point out the D20 and D6 printed on the bottom of each of these pages?
Good point, yes.
So that you can flick to a random page if you don't have a die handy.
Yeah. So, I succeeded.
So you
So
succeeded
117.
again.
Yeah.
Off to 117 we go. You manage 7 push-ups altogether,
I can
and you feel elated. Satisfied with your physical training, you proceed to your next task. Go to section 76.
Okay.
Final exam covers practical magic. You take a few deep breaths and prepare to cast your spell by placing one hand on the wall and forming an image of an exclamation mark in your mind. When you lift your hand from the wall, you see a black exclamation mark emblazoned on the whitewashed surface. This is satisfactory. The mark appears permanent, as if it is painted on the wall, though you know from experience that someone could easily wipe it away. Go to section 222.
Yep. Hang on.
Making an exclamation mark appear on the wall is a first trick, a simple form of magic called a cantrip. Today's exam will test your spellcasting ability. You focus your thoughts and cast Penetritzel, which, as it happens, is the first spell you learn. Adepts must master 7 spells to graduate and earn the title of Adeptus. And the first spell students learn at this school is special not because it lets the caster look through walls, but because it is the only one that does not directly affect someone's mind or body. Failing to cast Penetritzel correctly simply means that you fail to see through a wall. Casting a transformation spell incorrectly, however, can lead to terrible consequences.
Squelch.
You know that every student's connection with Penetritzel goes beyond looking through walls. It opened your eyes to a new world. When you learned this spell, you felt arcane energy flow through your body for the first time in your life. It was not spontaneous and uncontrolled like when you were a child, and neither was it an emotional burst of magic unleashed by rage or anger. Penetritzel showed you could master magic. You felt in control of your life for the first time. You have no skill in hunting, flirting, or making things. Your talent lies in magic, and you are confident about today's exam. You face the outer wall once again, close your eyes, and speak the incantation. Apparently, you can speak it better than I can. Speak the incantation.
Penetritzel. Penetritzel. Penetritzel.
Roll to cast Penetritzel. Courage, sagacity, and intelligence.
Okay.
If your check succeeds, go to section 169.
Right. So, my character sheet. Let's bring that back. Courage, sagacity, and intelligence. So, my courage is 13. 9. My sagacity is 15.
That's mean, Becky.
16. I failed on sagacity. I need to
Okay, how much did you fail by?
1 point.
So you just need to spend 1 point of your skill with Penetritzel to successfully...
Okay, and my skill with Penetritzel is further down. In spells, if I recall correctly. Penetritzel, I have 7. Is that a one and done, by the way? Or is it restored at the end of this game, or...? when you spend skill points?
That's a one and done. Yeah, that's a per roll thing.
Right. Okay.
It's not you're not really spending them. It's just that bad rolls reduce the number of skill ranks you have left over, and the more skill ranks you have left over, the more you have, the better you've done.
So far I am 4 under.
You have
bang on, and intelligence I have to roll.
Oh, and you still need to roll an intuition.
Intuition, not intelligence. I think it was intuition, wasn't it?
Yeah, we have sagacity rather than intelligence.
That was it. Sorry, my apologies. Well, that's a 2. So that kind of kicks ass. So I made it.
Okay, so you made that
quite a lot.
Most of your points left.
Yes. I only spent 1. I had 6 points
169 left. Then. You chant the magical words over and over, pushing your mind forward like a nail driven by a hammer until you can see beyond the wall. You look out upon the city. Light from Prios's disc pierces the lifting fog, and clouds of chimney smoke curl above the rooftops. Since we skipped past that section, Prios's disc is a common name for the sun, Prios being the sun god.
Fair.
The half-timbered houses across the road crowd each other as if seeking support after a night of revelry. Servants crowd the streets, conducting their shopping. A woman goads an ox that refuses to pull her overloaded cart. Several children try to catch an escaped piglet. 2 old men share the day's gossip. Battle-scarred woman checks her sword's edge while a sharpener waits nervously for his payment. A well-dressed city council member steps into an alley to avoid a mud puddle, unaware of the woman above him preparing to empty her chamber pot. This look at the honest hustle and bustle of life outside the school refreshes your spirit. But you feel the spell draining your strength. Wistfully, you gaze quickly around once more, then you withdraw your awareness, forcing it through the wall and back into your body. You open your eyes and lean against the wall while you recover. Subtract 6 arcane energy from your total and go to section.
Right.
Now, I'm hoping that the character sheet has actually got a fillable form for the arcane energy, but if it hasn't, just make a note on a piece of paper.
I've got a notepad file open, so I've just -6 to that.
Yep.
Section 4 then.
Excellent. Right, so 4 is adding a time counter. Click here to add shown time to the time tracker. I love that it will do that for me. So
okay,
nice.
Clicked here.
Essentially, if you run out of time, the scenario ends and you lose, for all intents and purposes. You flinch as the courtyard bell rings, striking the hour. Where did the time go? Well, I just clicked it away. Your exam starts soon. No time to waste. You put on your robe, grab your pointy hat and plain staff, and hurry out of your room.
It's a pointy hat.
You arrive?
Sorry.
Of course you've got a pointy hat. You're a mage. You must have a pointy hat. You arrive at Archmage Erelon's study, wheezing and exhausted with no time to spare. You straighten your robe, take a moment to catch your breath, and knock at the door. No response. You do not hear, "Come in, just a moment," or any of the other replies you expect. Knock again, more forcefully this time. Again, you hear nothing. If you continue waiting, go to section 175. If you suspect this is a part of the test and enter without explicit permission, go to section 101. Of course, you could try to peer through the wall by casting Penetritzel. Students are not permitted to gaze through walls within the school, but this might be an emergency. If you want to try this, go to section 198. On the other hand, a spell would use up more of your arcane energy. Failing the exam because you were tired would be unbearably humiliating, so maybe you should simply peek inside the room through one of the windows. If so, go to section 52.
I don't think this is part of the test. I think this is deeply suspicious. But I am going to go to section 52 and go and sneak around looking through the windows.
Okie dokie, section 52 it is. Finding the windows to Magister Erelon's room is not difficult. You follow the narrow corridor, open one of the building's colourful stained glass windows and look around outside. The ledge is at least 30 feet above street level. Climbing along the ledge looks risky.
You
will surely die if you lose your footing. Unless you're lucky enough to land in the straw-filled cart parked below the Archmage's window. If you want to risk climbing on the ledge, go to section 118. If you prefer to continue waiting outside the Archmage's door, go to section 175. If you wish to try opening Magister Erelon's door, go to section 101. If you want to try gazing into the room with Penetritzel, a forbidden but less risky option, go to section 198.
I have the agility of a slightly drunken sloth. So I am going to go and actually try and open his door.
Going to try and open his door at section 100. Heart pounding.
Fancy
Turn
version
the
of
doorknob.
Bell.
But the door remains closed. If it has a mechanical lock, twisting the knob would prove fruitless, but you doubt Archmage Erelon would rely on a mundane lock. After all, this is not a school of the White Guild, where teachers view magic with such awe that they focus on theory and ignore application. The thought makes you shudder. You wonder if this puzzle would arise at the Black Guild schools, where demon summoners and other crazy people are commonplace. They probably feel no need to lock their doors, as intruders get decapitated and flayed by summoned monstrosities. You set these absurd thoughts aside and return to the matter at hand, namely, finding Archmage Erelon. If you continue to wait patiently outside the door, go to section 175. If you try gazing through the wall with Penetritzel, 198. If you want to go back to the outside window, we know where we're going, back to 52, and then wherever that sends us.
Yeah. Well, it sends us 30 feet straight down and turning me into a pancake.
Possibly.
So I am going to...
She knocked on the door already. That was before we got given a choice. She'd already knocked on the door and got no response.
Already knocked on the door, yes. I'm not just randomly standing outside hoping. PC, I would be getting a bit paranoid. I like this game so much. Okay, I am going to try and penetrate all the Archmage's door and hope that he's not doing something untoward with one of the senior students. Right,
so 198. Penetritzel. No, you remember that, so why am I saying it?
Yeah. Penetritzel. You murmur
repeatedly.
Yes.
While pressing your brow against the wall of Archmage Erelon's room, roll to cast the spell.
Pound that door like the weird, paranoid, socially awkward nerd you are. We've got a really good sense for who the character is, haven't you? Okay, so I know what my courage is. My courage is 13. Oh, I hosed my courage. So that was 5 points. I will have to spend to get that down to a success.
Okay.
Which only leaves me 2.
Yeah, you better hope you roll well on the other 2.
Okay, I got 15 and my sagacity is 15, I remember.
So you're okay on that one.
And I got 13 and I can't remember what my intuition is. Which is...
It is 14.
Okay, so I made that. So I only had 2 points left, basically. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I successfully cast it. What section am I going to?
That is a very good question. I just accidentally clicked off, and I'm trying to remember where we were.
119, I think.
Hang on a moment. I can backtrack to it easily enough.
Okay.
That number, which takes me to that number. So, section 216.
Thank you.
Your mind feels swallowed by the to press through a keyhole that suddenly appeared in the stone, and your awareness explodes into the Archmage's room. You've never been here before, and it takes you a moment to orientate yourself. Magister Erelon's room is huge compared to your humble quarters. His opulent bed covered with blue veils sits in one side chamber, and you think you can see a cast iron bathtub in another side chamber. What luxury! And this is not all. The room is dominated by an eye-catching piece of furniture, Archmage Erelon's huge, impressively carved desk, which sits between 2 9-foot shelves stuffed with books and rolls of parchment. Only a true artist could have given form to the creatures carved into the desk's surface. You see a dragon, a cyclops, a demonic shroof, a fantastic winged serpent, and many others. With a start, you realize the carved figures are moving. 2 armed dwarves wage an eternal struggle against a type of dragon called a wyvern. They advance and retreat several inches across the surface as they fight. Nearby, the winged serpent dodges several blasts of magic fire hurled by a mage. Then it lunges forward, fangs poised to strike, but the mage dodges nimbly and fires another blast of flame at the nimble serpent. Their scary, lifelike, and fascinating battle continues, and you must expend some effort to look away.
What page am I on again? Sorry, I slipped away.
216.
That was it.
Hanging on a wall, you see 3 long staves, one pitch black and shattered in the middle. Next to them, you see 2 crossed, slender ceremonial swords, their pommels shaped like roaring lion heads and their crossguards shaped like lion paws. Most exciting of all is the polished ball that looks as if it was made of glass filled with slow-moving grey fog. The ball rests on a 6-fingered hand and scaly forearm rises out of a dark grey column anchored to the stone floor.
Oh, this is all normal.
Archmage's study sounds normal to me.
Okay, yeah, fair play.
Here's the stuffed crocodile.
Well, yes, stuffed crocodile needs to be hanging from the ceiling, obviously.
Dead man's boots and all that.
Yeah, good point.
So, yeah, the only thing you do not see is Magister Erelon. You also do not see either of your 2 proctors, that inscrutable half-elf Magister Mela Moonhair and Magister Brutum, whom most students secretly refer to as Mela's shadow. Disappointed, you start to climb back when you notice something else. One of the carpets is askew. One corner is rolled up and another is pushed up against one of the chairs. Magister Erelon's desk is messy, which seems out of place for a room that is otherwise so orderly. Then you spy other things that you did not notice before. A crushed piece of chocolate candy on the floor, an overturned vase and a small puddle that no one bothered to wipe up, a row of books leaning at an unusual angle on a shelf with deep, almost parallel scratches in the wood. Something is wrong, you are certain.
God, she's good.
There are signs of a struggle, and someone tried to hide the evidence. Who could have fought here? No one could enter Archmage Erelon's room without permission, so the mage must have admitted his attacker, or attackers, into the room. A thrill of danger runs down your spine. You feel like an agent of the Imperial Garetian Information Agency on a secret mission investigating a crime. What happened to Magister Erelon? You see no traces of blood. He may have been abducted, but who would have been so bold and why? You need answers, but where to find them? Your exam is likely to be cancelled, which means you will not graduate today. Magister Moonhair would jump for joy if she knew. Wait. Magister Moonhair, your exam. It all fits. You have a suspect and a motive. Anger wells up inside you and you almost lose your footing. You quickly climb back through the stained glass window. Hang on, what do you mean stained glass window?
Yeah. No. I'm not climbing in.
No.
They've put that in, assuming that you climb through the window.
We started the this section pushing your mind through.
Yes.
With Penetritzel.
Yeah, I suspect that's basically that's a copy
but
paste
then
error.
we've copy pasted the other section. Whoops.
Yes. Apparently, I'm creepy. Just looking through the wall at the guy's bedroom and bathtub is just yikes. I'm the worst. Like as bad as the Murder She Wrote lady, sort of the worst.
You withdraw your perceptions, returning to the safety of the corridor, already planning your next move. You must find Magister Erelon and gather evidence against Magister Moonhair. Subtract 6 AE from your total and go to section 167. So, with the ends, right? It's subtracting the
now that's different
arcane
to mine.
energy. Is it?
No, because I was on the wrong page. Shut up. There are 2 almost identical entries.
Yeah, the entry before is clearly if you've gone through through the window.
6 AE, yeah. So I'm down to 12
just
AE.
Just that last paragraph, but actually not just that last paragraph. Everything from Mela's shadow, because it says disappointed you start to climb back. I did think that was odd at the time. But yeah, that whole section, there's just those are identical except that one should refer to the spell and the other one not.
Right. Shall I take over for a few minutes and give you some break time because you sound like you need a drink? Fish.
I reckon.
Wait, you sound like you're going to.
Oh, you just give me a moment to have a drink and then carry on.
Okay. I'll take the next bit. This is crazy.
Okay, 167
Yeah,
then.
this is crazy. Instead of taking my exam and looking forward to graduation, here I am searching the halls of the school for clues to Magister Erelon's whereabouts. I fervently hope this decision won't come back to haunt me, but I'm determined to succeed, so pause to consider my options. And yes, I am changing tenses on the fly. Deal with it.
Makes sense. Yes, this is your internal monologue.
Yeah. My internal
Right, it's in your voice.
My internal monologue is just twisted because I've just looked through a wall at the guy's bathtub. The wisest course of action.
That's my as in character.
Yes.
The monologue being twisted.
Thank you. The wisest course of action would be to inform the teachers and let them handle it. Oh, but we know this is a Hogwarts moment. Many of the school's students and instructors went into town today to celebrate the end of the school year, but some always remain behind. Venerable Magister Horrigan is probably in his office. Most students would approach him first, as he's competent, friendly, and trusting. Magister Immonfeld probably stayed behind as well, but she's mistrustful and a stickler for the rules. I wonder whether she'd help or make the situation worse. Seeking Magister Tiernan's advice is more difficult, but less risky. He's a brilliant theoretician, although he's even more unworldly than the elves, and his mind often seems to be someplace else. An unsympathetic person might call him insane. I never searched Magister Erelon's room, so a return trip might be in order. And, of course, I might benefit if I search Magister Moonhair's and Magister Brutum's rooms. In for a penny, in for a pound.
Absolutely, if you're going to do a thing.
Maybe I could learn something about the Mad Archmage's recent activities by asking the school's clerical and housekeeping staff. I could also try the teacher's lounge, the dining hall, or the courtyard. I doubt I'd find any instructors in the attic or cellar today. But if I did, they might have the information I seek. How will I know unless I try? Speaking of chances, I suddenly remember a potential witness who always turns up at the most inconvenient of times. Nivea, the school's resident house cat. Her animal instincts and razor-sharp senses let her perceive things humans can't. According to rumour, she's a former student. According to rumour, she's a former student who became trapped in an animal shape years ago. If it's true, she must be able to communicate with me. Of course, I could also retreat to my room to rest and consider my options, at least for a while. Sometimes the answer finds the seeker. So, go to section 100 and make my decision.
You have many choices.
Oh my God.
What do you decide to do?
Good Lord. Okay.
So there is your great long list of everything that was summed up in your little train of thought there.
Yeah. Do I?
And you will notice that they have little check marks next to them.
Which I'm guessing every time you do it, that will fill in one of the check marks.
Jump to the next page, which actually tells us. You'll notice that next to them there's that little circle and a dotted line. The dotted line leads to a sidebar on the next page.
Okay.
Cross off the circle in front of your choice before going to that section. You cannot revisit a choice unless it has another unmarked circle in front of it. Note that some choices are followed by 2 or more section numbers in parentheses. When you initially choose such an option, go to the first section listed there. If you choose that option again, go to the last section in the list, and so on. And the next section in the list even. Incidentally, section 100 is a good place to pause the adventure when you wish to take a break. Also, if you forget why you have some of these choices, reread the text in section 167.
Okay. Do I go look for clues in Master Erelon's room? Do I search Magister Moonhair's or Brutum's rooms? My suspects. Or do I seek advice from one of the teachers? Visit the teacher's lounge? Search the dining hall to see who's there? Look for the cat? Or go and hide in my room?
Now, let me just point out for a second. When we played through the other solo that time that we did it,
yep,
I'd actually played through it on my own before I ran you through it. I did this for once before with Vampire of Ravenna. I haven't done this one, so I am as in the dark as you are about what is happening. It may be gaming this, rather, but I'm intrigued by the fact that those 3 seek advices, one of them you can only do once, one of them you can do twice, and one of them you can do 3 times. That's fascinating to me.
It is, isn't it? I'm thinking,
but that's just metagaming horribly.
It is metagaming horribly. I think I'm going to go and search the room in which I suspect there has been dark doings and foul play. But Meki reckons my character is the type to seek advice.
Yeah. Probably from the cat.
The cat is an option. Nivea the cat is an option.
Yep, 151 for the cat.
Alexia, your summing up is beautiful. Are you nuts, 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 sane? Several kinds of nuts. Call it a day. If this all turns out to be, like a 70s horror movie and suddenly everyone comes out and is actually all fine, and that was all part of my exam, this is a good reason to burn the school down. I want to see.
There are those who might suggest that checking the teachers' lounge and dining hall to see if the Archmage is there would be a good idea before you start breaking into people's apartments.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest actively going to hunt down the cat, but we could stumble over it later. Let's start with the teachers' lounge. That is
stumble over paragraph 151, eh?
Yeah.
So the teachers' lounge.
Yes.
Okay, ticking that and clicking through to 107. How often have students found themselves standing outside the imposing doors of the teacher's lounge with their hearts pounding? Everyone knows only teachers may enter this room, and teachers do not like to be disturbed for petty reasons. They absolutely do not want the students getting their hands on their vodka. All solicitors must address the eerie face carved into the door and ask clearly and politely whether the mage they seek resides within. The door always answers in a creaky voice that matches its wooden visage. Instead of wading through the list of teachers to find one who might be here, you decide to simply ask if anyone is inside. The door's reply is simple, but sounds no less terrifying. Nah.
Okay.
It wails. Hey, it's creaky. You suppose finding the Archmage here would have been too convenient. Disappointed, you try another option, returning to section 100.
Okay, so I have visited the teacher's lounge, and therefore I can check off that one.
You're supposed to check it off before you go there.
Yeah, okay.
You're using the 5-fingered bookmark, aren't you?
Maybe.
I didn't go there if it kills you.
The 5-fingered bookmark is perfectly valid. If Ian Livingstone uses the 5-fingered bookmark...
He invented the English version of the books. Or say English. That's English capitally, not English language. Because the originals were the Choose Your Own Adventure.
They were the Choose Your Own Adventure.
Were they the original ones in America?
Yeah.
Which Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson stole the idea of. Borrowed heavily from to create fighting fantasy game books. But what they did do with the FF game books, they invented the idea of actually putting a game system in them. It was purely turn to paragraph, whatever, in the original fighting thingy once.
Choose Your Own Adventure. Yeah.
How late was it in game? Well, we've only had one time check so far, so it's still early.
Yeah, I've not long got up, done my push-ups, and
nothing else that we've done have required us to actually check off, make a time check.
Let's go to the dining hall.
To the dining hall, of which there are 2.
Section
so
25.
First time out, we're going to number 25. A visit to the grey eminence of the school.
No.
You think your stomach ache?
No,
that's only one. 25.
Yes.
Helps if I read the right. Except for 2 maids clearing away dishes and a young student with boil-covered skin sitting alone at one of the dining hall's long tables, the room is unoccupied. You ask the maids for news of Magister Erelon or Magister Moonhair. If you ask the maids even, go to section 187. If you ask the student, go to 206. If you decide not to bother anyone, return to section 100.
Do I want to go and talk to the student with boil-covered skin sitting alone at one of the dining hall's long tables? It sounds like they have a better social life than I do. I'm going to ask the student. 206.
Okay.
And a time check.
And that's a time check.
So I've increased that.
Yeah, as have I. It's all right, though, people. We are on different computers in different copies of the PDF.
Yes.
We're not increasing it twice. Like many students your age, you've been busy studying for exams these past few months. Even if you were interested in chatting with other students, your duties and your research project left you little time to do so.
God, what's her
The student sitting in the dining hall looks 11 or 12 at most. Seeing him reminds you of your first day at the school. Leaving home was difficult for you, and you've not seen your family for 9 years. Your elevé years, the first 3 years at the school, were the hardest. You felt terribly homesick, but were gradually adapted to your new life. During your novice years, your next 3 years, you proved to be one of the most promising students in your class, and you looked forward to each lesson in the magical arts. Your obsession with excellence only increased during your proud studioso years, the past 2 years, and you showed no interest in your fellow students or their opinions. You seat yourself across the table from the boy, who shivers with fever. He motions to move away out of consideration for your health, but you smile encouragingly. You can smile? If he did have a dangerous disease, somebody would have quarantined him in the infirmary. Your line.
Sorry. Your name's Stove, am I right?
You say, trying to start a conversation. The boy nods shyly, perhaps embarrassed that he does not know your name.
I seek Magister Evelion or Magister Moonhair. Have you seen either of them?
He coughs to clear some congestion and croaks the word, "No," shaking his head. Now that you think about it, the poor lad was probably asleep in his room until a short time ago. How could he have seen anything? You look around for the maids, but they already left the room. Thank the boy, get up, and exit the dining, returning to section 100.
Alexia, do you hate my character so much? I think there's a non-zero chance that, yeah, she is still stark-bollock naked. Oh, I'm feeling so sorry for this character. She's hated, has no friends, and now it's just basically doing her best Nancy Drew thing. With access to creepy spells. You're having so many uni flashbacks. This is less uni for me. This is college the first time.
Given that the first spell they teach you at Levangan is a spell for looking through walls, I can only assume that they're known as grey mages because that's the colour of flashermack they're wearing.
Yes. These are not mage robes. These are long grey trench coats.
Right.
God. I've got Wishing You Were Mine by Mitch Benn stuck in my head now.
Oh no, I've got You Don't Look Right to Us by Mitch
Benn.
Benn.
Look right to us. He don't look right. Yep.
You know what they say, no smoke without fire, and a whole town of gossips can't be liars.
Yep. So I had I remember the words you said, and you found me hiding underneath your bed.
Underneath your bed, yeah.
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 You were the creep who walked into the study, saw the other students, turned around and left for a quieter place. Yeah. I didn't need to do that because I'm capable of creating my own isolation. I can completely ignore the world around me to the extent that I could have classes come in and out and I wouldn't know. I'm making my decision, by the way, Fish. I have the list in front of me.
Just as an update, I'm no longer at risk of my microphone being unplugged by the cat. However, I now do not have access anymore to the core rulebook. So we're going to have to make do with just the rules as written in the PDF.
Meki, I find it hard to believe that you could be horrible to people.
Oh, I have absolute confidence that if Meki wants to, he can be utterly horrible.
Okay, rephrase that, yeah. I can't imagine you being accidentally horrible.
Accidentally, no. I can't imagine him being accidentally.
Okay.
I can't help thinking that the image at the top of this page might be slightly spoilery.
Oh my god. Good lord.
And unless of course that's just a random image they've thrown in next to the most commonly visited paragraph in the entire game, just to throw you.
Pippin loves books
So
as
what's
much as
the
you do.
plot of this scenario? Oh, he's absolutely fine, and it's all a big joke. Right, brilliant. Let's put a were-rat in.
Where rat, there rat. Okay, are people enjoying this so far?
Well, I am. So
I am, yes. I think it's working okay, actually. I'll put this up on both my YouTube channel and on the Hint Plays one. Or at least at least I will link to it off the Hint Plays one. Do I search the cellar, the courtyard, or the attic? I'm not going back to hide in my room. Look for other teachers or look for the cat. I'm thinking, can we stop and enjoy the fact that you were right?
that there isn't a paragraph for that.
No.
Alexia, sorry.
I am going to go and look for the cat. I'm going to go and search for Nivea.
You're going to hunt down Nivea.
I'm going to hunt down L'Oreal the cat.
Okay. Oh dear, that's another time check. It takes time to find the cat. Now that you need to find Nivea the cat, she's nowhere to be seen. Eventually, you spot her on the 3rd floor, curled up on top of a bale of cloth next to the tailor's door. As you approach, she rotates an ear in your direction and then slowly raises her head as if trying to decide whether you deserve an audience. So, cat then. For a few seconds, her green eyes stare at you with an intelligence that reminds you of the rumours of her true nature. But then she stretches and rolls onto her back, batting at the air with one paw. If only Nivea could talk. You are certain she could lead you to Archmage Erelon. Students and Maguses alike have tried to reverse Nivea's supposed transformation countless times throughout the years. Their failures are a sad yet colourful chapter in the school's history. But all hope is not lost. Sometimes Nivea reacts to simple sentences and seems to understand every word as if she really is a human trapped in animal form. You cannot change her into something capable of speech like a parrot, but you can try changing yourself into a cat.
Because that's a sane thing to do.
If you try simply speaking to the cat, go to section 62. Casting a Salander or Wolf Paw spell to transform yourself into a cat requires at least 16 arcane energy or 12 arcane energy, respectively. Also, while transformed, your experiences are dreamlike and difficult to recall after the spell expires. But if you try this more daring plan, go to section 37. If you choose not to disturb the cat, do the following. Erase the mark you placed on the time tracker when you arrived at this section, return to section 100, and erase the mark in front of the option to look for Nivea. At least you know where to find her if the need arises again.
You reckon all the orcs are just going to make us don't go there? They're weird in there. They're freaking weird. It's nothing to do with bribery.
Strange. Not understand human.
Yes.
What are you doing?
I've always liked the thing you imposed, by the way, when you created Made It. That time when we ended up in an area with a permanent tongues cast on it. Suddenly this Minotaur went from made it, and that was all he could say.
Yeah, literally, he just said made it, nothing else.
Yeah. But then when he suddenly was in an area with auto-translation, he was this most erudite person in his own tongue.
Hey, this is interesting. I can talk to you all again. This is fascinating. He was quite intelligent. He just couldn't speak common.
Yeah. I've always quite liked that. So I like the idea if you're speaking orc. It's none of this, orcs don't understand humans. I like the idea that the orcs can hold forth like Julius Caesar. Yeah. It's just that unless you speak orcish, you have no
ask
idea.
Chief. I say, Gerald, this human wants to know something.
I now need an orc chief called Gerald, please. Please, Gerald the orc chief.
I'm sure I could spell that in some way to make it look orcish.
Yeah, I think that gets around the perception that some races are really brutish. It's just that's how they do common. It's like your first year French students
I mean,
going on the school trips.
Yeah, orcs are always presented as being really quite stupid. Same goes for goblins. You look at their stats, however, and they're only like 1 or 2 points lower than the average human, which means that a large quantity of the people in any village should be as stupid and sound a lot like people do orcs and goblins. It is just simple bigotry against orcs and goblins, frankly.
I think it is. I think it's represented as they can't speak properly, but...
And yes, spot on, Mecky. Orcs speak much better common than most people speak Orcish.
They speak better common than I speak Spanish, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get your tenses wrong and stuff like that. Suddenly everything is in the present tense, first person.
Yeah. It's always fascinating when somebody actually bothers to study a language before presenting someone who's supposed to be a native speaker of that language speaking poor English. Because what you should do, of course, is you look at things like the way the grammar works in that language and you just directly transliterate that. And the mistakes that they're making should be those kind of mistakes. About as far as that ever goes, usually, is to use he and she instead of it for languages that use gender on like tables.
Yeah.
So that's usually about as far as anybody can be bothered to go.
Yeah. Inigo Montoya was actually quite well written in that regard.
Inigo Montoya was very well written and very well performed as well. I mean, he had a recognizable Spanish accent. You could pin down the area he came from.
Yes,
it's great.
He was expected to be doing sort of the Mexican end of Spanish, and he just went, nope, he's Spanish. So he actually picked. I think he actually went and picked an area of Andalusia, and decided it was that. That was what he was going to be doing, and I thought, yes. Alexia's come up with an excellent spelling of Gerald.
Yeah, that'll work.
I like that. Yes.
Love it.
Okay. This doesn't, however...
Okay, so are you going to transform yourself, talk to the cat, or decide you're being silly and go back to section 100?
I'm going to make the slightly saner option of simply speaking to the cat on 62.
You're going to talk to the cat in section 62.
Oh, hello. Which isn't a link, interestingly.
Yeah, no, they didn't put a link on the section 62 one, did they? I was just finding that myself.
No, I was
sat there clicking on it going, oh no, it's gone wrong. I'm not interacting with the PDF for some reason.
Nivea watches me suspiciously as I crouch down next to her, making a check on animal
You're scrolling
law.
quicker than me.
Yeah.
Scrolling much quicker than me. I haven't even got there yet.
Yeah. So I need to do courage, charisma.
You actually went page to page and then scrolled, didn't you? I'm just scrolling the whole thing.
No, I've got the bookmarks open down the side.
Oh, you used the bookmarks.
Yeah.
Cheat face there. Went with the bookmarks. Yeah, why didn't I think of that? I'm going to continue to declare that cheating because I didn't think of it.
I don't have any slices of sausage to sweeten the offer, unfortunately. However, I can still make it at a -4. If I fancy myself as a cat whisperer, go to section 195. If I'm more of a dog person, go to section 7. Right, so I need to do 13, 13, and whatever my charisma is. And the character sheet refused.
Oh, yeah, that's better. You're back. I lost you there. You suddenly went all quiet.
Did I? Sorry.
Yeah.
My charisma is 12, so I need to do 13, 13, 12.
13, 13,
and
12.
I'm on 62. So, 13, 13, 12. I love how you can just choose to go.
Do you
full
have
on
some
choose...
slices of sausage?
No.
By the way?
No.
Didn't think you did.
Choose your own drug-fueled misadventure while being inexplicably sober. To be fair, I got dosed on dodgy porridge.
You know what? I think Choose Your Own Drug-Fueled Misadventure should be a new series of books.
I think it could well be. Okay, so I need 998 for this to come off.
Yes. Choose Your Own Drug-Fueled Misadventure,
That's a
Book
4.
1, Where the Hell's My Pizza?
Okay, so we've got a 4, so that's fine. That's an 8, so that works. And this one needs to be 8 or less. 8! Yay! I can't
Yeah.
believe that
So
worked.
you are a cat whisperer. I
like
can.
cats.
You rolled the dice. If I'd rolled the dice, we'd be going to section 7.
Oh, yeah.
Nivea lets you rub her belly. Then she rolls around and looks at you expectantly. Again, you feel like you're looking into human eyes, which makes the belly rubbing a little creepy. You have
By
Nivea's
comparison
attention.
to what?
If you ask, where can I find Magister Erelon, go to 49. If you ask, where is Magister Moonhair, go to 130. If you ask, where are Magister Moonhair and Magister Erelon, go to section 109.
Ooh, now. Aurelion is the one I really need to find. And it's kind of an assumption that he's with Magister Moonhair. Oh my god, Alexia, yes, do it. Absolutely. Reading and writing, please. Okay. I want to find Erelon. Let's go with number 49.
49 for Erelon.
Yikes! Oh god. Nivea's ear oh god, and I'm increasing the time counter.
Yep, time counter. Nivea's ear twitches as she listens to your question. Then she jumps down from her throne, the bale of cloth, and runs off through the hallways. You have trouble following her because she takes shortcuts beneath furniture and because you're a bit pathetic.
She hates
Sometimes she climbs
too.
Sometimes she climbs a tall shelf and makes a daring leap across a room for no discernible reason at all. Are you listening to this, cat? You follow her up a flight of stairs to the top floor, then along the corridor to Magister Erelon's room. Purring, Nivea rubs up against the doorframe, then rolls onto her back, seemingly expecting more affection. You feel anger well up inside you, but then you remember that you did ask the cat to show you the way to Magister Erelon, or Aurelian. I keep missing that I.
Yeah.
And she led you to his room. What more do you expect? You feel disappointed, but you stroke Nivea's belly anyway. Soon she jumps to her feet and disappears beneath the cupboard. Go to section 100.
But I did get to play with a cat's belly fluff, so to be honest...
Yes, you did indeed.
And
you did get to flick to this page and be terrified by the sight of stats for rats.
Well, it's the rat, your transformed character, that scares me.
Yeah, you didn't choose the transform myself option, no. So presumably therefore...
Yeah, okay, so section 100.
Section 100. Just to remind people, we've had 4 marks on the time tracker.
Shut
so
up.
How there are 20 on the complete time tracker. You only had doing fine on time moment.
Right. I am going to seek advice from Alchemicus Horrigan.
Alchemicus Horrigan.
I'm going to talk to a sane person. Maybe.
I thought you were going to the Alchemicus.
Oh god, and that advances the time tracker. Let's talk to the friendly one.
That was 148, wasn't it? Yeah.
As one of the friendliest and most respected mages in the academic community, Alchemicus Magister Horrigan's always willing to talk outside of class with his students. Even when not teaching, he prefers to spend his time in the cellar in the school's laboratories. Thank God for clarification.
We're back on drug-fueled misadventures, aren't we?
We really are. This is the... Is it Donald Sutherland character?
Air quotes, alchemist.
Yeah.
Hangs out with the kids between classes.
In the lab.
Providing them with potions and pills.
Yes. This is the Donald Sutherland
Definitely
character.
Donald Sutherland
from,
in Animal House.
Yes. Even when
absolutely.
Classes are over for the term, so both labs are empty when I arrive. Both being here reminds me of all the times I stood at one of those stone-covered tables performing experiments under the watchful eye of Magister Horrigan. The Magister insists that students obey safety precautions, but he also knows that some students learn best by doing, not simply by listening. This divergent philosophy manifests in the appearance of the 2 school labs. On one hand, the teaching lab is clean and orderly, and numerous blackboards display important safety rules such as always stand while working, always wash your hands upon entering and before leaving the room, and so on.
Wash your hands more often for 20 seconds. Well,
Yes.
maybe while singing Happy Birthday.
After each lesson, 2 assistants would gather up unused alchemici, sweep the floor, and thoroughly scrub the tables. That was one of my geography teachers. He used to give us lessons in the gardens outside the school. By contrast, the research lab, which is smaller and separated from the teaching lab by a heavy door, is far less organised. The research lab's door stands open, and I can see a jumble of glass equipment piled on the tables. A small candle still burns, heating a flask containing a viscous liquid. Obviously, somebody is ignoring the safety rules. No wonder students half-jokingly refer to the research lab as the realm of chaos.
Yeah, but is it Realms of Chaos Book 1, Slaves to Darkness, or Book 2? No, Book 1 was Lost and the Damned. Book 2 was Slaves to Darkness.
Yeah. I can recognise one of the glass assemblies from an experiment Alchemicus Horrigan assigns to all his first-year students. When I was a new student, my first lab lesson with Master Magister Horrigan warned about the great danger inherent in the experiment. Make one mistake, he said, and the whole device might blow up. Bang! For this reason,
first experiment he assigned to all students was mixing the perfect martini.
Yeah.
The explosion, if they got it wrong, did not come from the flask.
From this reason, he explained, students had to remain at a safe distance. Next, he revealed a glass assembly holding 2 boiling liquids, one green, the other blue. Oh, this is just... The green liquid rose through a glass tube and dripped into the flask of blue liquid, which sat above a larger flame. Steam rose from the blue-green compound, winding its way through more glass tubes until it condensed into a clear distillate the Magister collected in a bowl. This is a drugs factory. Fish. This lab is a drugs factory.
Yeah.
At regular intervals, Magister Horrigan poured this distillate back into the flask of blue liquid. Surprisingly, the blue liquid never changed colour. Everything the students knew about liquid concentration and the combination of alchemical substances indicated the mixture should have become several shades lighter when thinned. Instead, it unfailingly retained its rich, deep hue. Or even deep, rich hue. For more than a week I struggled and failed to explain the underlying reason for this result. I failed to even identify the 2 boiling liquids. Now I think about it, my lab report deserved the disappointing grade of inadequate. Oh great, what am I going to do? Blow up the school? Every student in the class received 1 more week to revise their lab reports, and even though my second effort received a minimal passing grade, I remember the Magister shaking his head in disappointment as he returned my paper. Upon the conclusion of this lesson, Magister Horrigan ordered every student to remain silent about the experiment so as not to spoil the surprise for future classes.
What are you doing here? A friendly voice said, in your reverie.
Good morning, Magister Horrigan. Oh, actually, the way it's... I'm sorry, he's a class master. Good morning, Magister Horrigan.
You say reflexively as the master's round, smiling face and famously unruly white beard appears at the door to the research laboratory. Shouldn't you be attending your final exam? He asks. What do you say in response?
Okay.
My exam was postponed. Nobody showed up to administer my exam. Something terrible happened. I think someone abducted Magister Aurelian. Or, this may sound crazy, but I think Magister Moonhair abducted Magister Aurelian.
Okay, I'm going to go with the sane option, which is nobody showed up to administer my exam. Did Magister Aurelian mention anything about it? And go to 186.
Okay, 186. Worry momentarily flickers across Magister Horrigan's face, and he asks you to have a seat in the laboratory. Unlike the teaching laboratory, which is a model of the Magister's vision of order and safety, at least that which he teaches his students, this lab is quite messy. Stacks of heavy tomes lean precariously, threatening to topple over and crush unwary passers-by. Large cobwebs darken every corner. Shelves groan under the weight of too many glass instruments. Open containers of volatile alchemicae litter the room, and foul-smelling liquids drip from untended spills on the tables. That is unlike him, the alchemicus mumbles, taking a seat to himself. What could have happened? He wonders aloud, scratching his beard. What do you say? Do you say, I don't know, I was hoping you could help. Do you say, Magister Aurelian was abducted? Or do you say, I know Magister Moonhair abducted Magister Aurelian?
I'm not leaping into 157. You've had that on your chips.
Spot.
No. I am, however, going to be a bit high-strung, still probably naked. No, I don't. She's not naked. No, she's not naked. She is wearing a mage's robe. However, if you can do bodily transformations and stuff at the drop of a hat, I'm inclined to say everyone's probably wearing just those open, not unzipped, unbuttoned robes that sort of just drape. And then just wrap it round them. I think Magister Aurelian was abducted, so 209.
So 209. Who would try such a deed, and more importantly, who could succeed? The alchemicus asks himself. You shrug with uncertainty, expecting Magister Horrigan to dismiss you altogether. Instead, he leans back and stares blankly over your shoulder in the direction of the teaching laboratory. Abducted, he mumbles quietly, lost in thought. Then his face lights up with childlike glee, the same way it does when one of his students discovers a correct answer, or when a complex experiment produces better than expected results. This is one reason why students love the old alchemist. Before you know it, he leaps off his seat, grabs you by the arm, and practically drags you to the teaching laboratory and section 74.
Oh, this is endearing. I've now been kidnapped by the crazy old drug-making alchemist.
You stumble as you hurry to keep up with the mage, until he stops in front of the device of failure, the experiment with the blue and green liquids that seem to defy every rule of alchemy, source of the worst grade of your career as a student at the Academy of Transformation. Do you remember your failure? The mage asks in a close to friendly tone.
Of course. How should I ever forget this homework?
You say, bitterness tinging your voice. Ah, well, I see. But what matters most is whether you understand the experiment now. You nod. The mage isn't satisfied with a non-verbal reply. Explain, he says. You sigh. This failure brings back many unpleasant memories, but you must answer his question.
Things were not as they seemed. Nobody could explain the results because you rigged the experiment.
Yes, I did, Master Horrigan says, laughing happily. Still bitter about the episode, you continue, saying,
There never were any blue or green liquids. You used only clear liquid. The beakers and tubing were made of coloured glass, but you ordered us to stand on the other side of the room due to the alleged danger, so we couldn't see clearly.
The mage's happy expression only fuels your irritation. You wrote a lab report, as I recall, he asks.
Yes, we all spent a week writing our papers, and how long did it take you to write inadequate on all of them, Magister? Half an hour?
True, all true, the mage says smugly, and you wonder how he ever became the most popular teacher in the school.
Drugs.
But you revised your report, he continues, resuming a serious tone.
Only because you forced us to rewrite them.
You say, still bitter. You came here seeking help, not humiliation. That lab experiment is my pride and joy, he laughs. Every student fails the first time around, and each must write a second paper. You correctly deduced that the experiment was fake. Well, the alchemical part at any rate. But here's the thing. That exercise was part of a larger experiment.
A larger experiment? You think failure is an experiment?
No, it's not about failure, but about character. The alchemicus wheezes as if shouldering a heavy burden. I'm not playing him at all as a wheezy person, am I?
No.
You suddenly feel like a new student, small and frightened, seeing alchemy. The world for the first. Yeah, it is a bit, actually. You're right. The alchemicus notices this change in your demeanor and softens his tone. He straightens his back, standing up to his full height, and says, The second essay required no special knowledge of alchemy, physical laws, or the substances in the glass tube. I think you wrote about your failure to deduce the workings of the experiment, but you mostly wrote about yourself. As I recall, you said something like, here the mage changes his voice to imitate yours as he recites from memory.
The experiment is a deception meant to convince the naive that we can flaunt the rules of alchemy simply by mixing the right substances. Trapped between fascination for the subject and mistakenly believing they witnessed a rare phenomenon, victims of this deception soon think that any result is possible if one simply knows the right formula. This sublime feeling of elation eventually succumbs to a disappointing but inevitable conclusion, namely that some things are quite impossible. You remember what I wrote?
You try to speak, fighting the lump forming in your throat. A moment later, you manage to say, you remember what I wrote. Spun ahead there.
I did, sorry.
Denying me my line.
Yep. I didn't think you had enough.
Magister nods eagerly, saying, I've taught 153 students. I would not recognize some of them today, and I do not know what became of all of them, but I remember their names, and I remember the words they wrote for that assignment.
But why did you look so disappointed when you returned my paper?
You stammer, surprised to discover your old wounds never healed. There are many ways to express oneself, even in a lab report. I read 153 highly personal essays. Some filled me with joy, some confirmed my suspicions, positive or negative, and some saddened me terribly.
I disappointed you.
You whisper, your voice barely audible. Then realization strikes you like lightning. How could you have been mistaken all these years? You stare into the green beaker, seeking courage.
I was wrong, Magister Horrigan. It may not be possible to break the rules of alchemy, but it is possible to fool 153 people with nothing more than cheap-coloured glass. Yes, the experiment was rigged, but that doesn't excuse my behaviour all these years. I should have known better. I also should have learned a second lesson. I should have learned...
The Magister waits expectantly for you to continue. What do you say? That things are not always as they seem. That nobody is immune to manipulation. Or that anything is possible, especially if you're willing to bend the rules a little.
Oh, oof. Oh. Well, it is kind of all of the above, obviously. However, I'm thinking that anything is possible if you're willing to bend the rules. What do you reckon?
Okay, so 135.
Yeah.
Magister Horrigan stands up, beaming with pride, his eyes filling with tears of joy. Excellent! Excellent! He says, laughing. Your mind is racing. Before today, nobody would believe Magister Aurelian would ever miss an exam. There must be a reason, and you decide to find it, though part of you worries a mere student is ill-equipped to face someone with the power to abduct an archmage.
Yay. Thank you, Magister Hogan. You've been most helpful.
You say, rising from your seat. As you turn to leave, the Magister hands you a small vial containing a healing potion. When imbibed, it heals 1d6 plus 2 life points up to your maximum of 29.
Ooh.
You thank him for the valuable gift as you exit. Who would have thought the worst homework assignment of your life would turn out so well? Record the file in your inventory and go to section 100. And having returned to section 100, which has been listed as a good place to pause when you need to, I'm going to take a bio break.
Okay. I will take the opportunity to refresh my drink. You're still mad at your form teacher telling you should have had a 9.5 out of 10 for maths instead of 9 for the first place. Ouch. That was when you were like 12. You're petty as hell. Yeah, go for it, Alexia. The best people are all petty. So, everybody, freshen your drinks. Have a stretch. This is a bit of a ride, really, isn't it? And this whole school is just twisted and strange. And is kind of the slightly weirder version of Hogwarts. hello, I'm getting tagged. What's going on? Oh god, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this a lot, I have to say. It isn't what I expected. So far it's the safer version of Hogwarts. There's just peeping Tom's paranoia and drug paraphernalia everywhere. It's great. Oh, and I can have a conversation with a cat. Oh, I'm going to have to read those. Oh, Joey, if you're still in chat, not sure if you've seen, but Robinson has confirmed that yes, Lucian does canonically have that scar on his cheekbone. Right. Okay. Excellent. I may be a creep, but I'm alive. I haven't really done a lot yet. I did just chase a cat to my master's student room, though. Okay, let's head back to section 100.
I have returned.
Okay.
So, what have you done while I was gone?
I'm going to go back to Magister Aurelian's room.
Ah.
I need answers. And God, if you wait for the Magister to return, go to 55. Well, I'm going to 55, but I'm not waiting for him to return.
So we're going to 164 back to Magister Aurelian's, yeah?
We're going to 55, because there's basically 164 is a choice on one line.
Okay.
You wait for a while, but except for one board maid, you see nobody. I think it's the maids. I think we're in a butler did it situation.
Have we done the time check?
I have just done the time check, yes.
Okay. If you continue to wait, go to section 102. If you stop waiting, go back to 100.
I'm going to blow another time check and wait for 102.
Okay. Persistence is a positive trait, and you are nothing if not persistent. Great words to put on your diploma and your letter of recommendation. What would the faculty at the school in Punin say after reading those words? Would they say, finally, someone qualified to watch dust accumulate on ancient tomes, someone to copy our largest books, someone to take inventory? And why not engrave it on your Boran's wheel as well, to last for all eternity? I believe that's a gravestone. Now that you think about it, persistence plus futility equals a tremendous waste of time. You missed your appointment, but you may yet graduate if you can find Magister Aurelian. You decide to look for him elsewhere, returning to section 100.
Right. Well, I'm reasonably sure he's not in the cellar, because I've just been down to the cellar, because that's where Magister Horrigan hangs out. So I'm going to seek advice from Magistra Immenfeld on 57.
Magistra Immenfeld.
Yep. I've ticked the first one.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Another time check.
Well, she's scary.
As you head towards Magistra Olya Immenfeld's room, you recall a humorous incident involving another student. One day, while Magister Horrigan was conducting a review of magical theory, a girl named Rhonda asked when the class would try something a bit more exciting, like summoning a demon. Without hesitation, the professor said, Rhonda, demons are a source of endless suffering. If pain is what you crave, I suggest you take one of Magistra Immenfeld's classes. But in a completely different voice to the one I used for him when we previously spoke to him.
It was a long time ago.
It was quite deliberate on his part.
That was his in-school class.
Hogan's droll answer still makes you smile. The school's teachers rarely criticise each other, students, but those two professors are well known for their mutual dislike. Similarly, Magistra Immenfeld is still angry that Magistra Moonhair was promoted to deputy headmistress ahead of her, even though it was called deputy dean last time we read it.
Yep.
Magistra Immenfeld's well-documented ambition makes her unpopular with students and faculty alike. Just about everyone has reasons to dislike her. Now that you think about it, maybe Magistra Immenfeld isn't the best person to ask for help.
No, but if she can get
lost in thought, you turn into the corridor that leads to Magistra Immenfeld's room and promptly run right into the gaunt woman, knocking her off balance. Her candle falls from its holder and a large tome slips from beneath her arm and hits the floor with a thud. Yes, that is a picture of this event.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
You quietly mumble an apology. Her brown eyes spark angrily at you from beneath her pageboy haircut. And even though she is shorter than you, she suddenly seems as large. Ogre.
Oh, God, it actually says her pageboy haircut. I seem to have taken the mickey. Does. That's a bowl. No,
that's actually in the description.
That's someone dumped a pudding bowl on the poor woman.
I think she's just auditioning to be the fifth Beatle. That's Is that what passes for an apology these days? She barks at you with shatter glass. I don't know why it doesn't fit.
Yes.
You silently pray that she doesn't turn you into an insect and step on you as she retrieves her book and candle. Has she got a bell to go with them? You make a second attempt to apologize, this time with more conviction in your voice. She eyes you critically for what seems like forever, then gives a dismissive wave. Aren't you supposed to be taking your final exam? She asks, her face resuming its normally stern expression. How do you wish to respond?
Oh, Knight, you are very welcome here. I don't know if you've seen any previously, but this is an exercise in surrealism and great fun.
It may be that we are interpreting certain elements of the story in the most ludicrous way possible.
Yeah, just a bit. The exam was meant to take place now, but Archmage Aurelion never showed up.
So, going to 183 then. Never showed up? The magistrate asks slowly, as if verbally tightening thumb screws. What do you mean? You stand transfixed by her gaze as you struggle to think of a satisfactory answer.
This is I'm being revenged upon, isn't it? Because you didn't get to play Hamus on Sunday. You broke a cymbal on an electronic drum kit. Oh no. No. Oh, that's a pain, Knight. You have my sympathies there. How much is that going to run you to sort? I'm not going to go with I think the exam was postponed, maybe, because that's not how this character has been played at all. I'm convinced that Magister Moonhair is involved somehow, because I am completely...
I've really got it in for Magister Moonhair.
Yeah, I still reckon that actually she's just high on poisoned porridge at this stage. She never got out of bed. She never did naked push-ups. And no,
naked push-ups and magical peeping tomboy.
Okay, so 125.
Magistra Immenfeld's usually stern expression briefly changes to one of curiosity.
Had a feeling.
She leads you back to her room and asks you to take a seat, expectedly comfortable chair, which she no doubt had to import from someplace far away, like Vinsult. While she secures an uncomfortable wooden chair for herself, you take the opportunity to quickly glance around her room. All the Magistra's possessions, shelves, table, cupboard, bed, curtains, and even writing supplies, speak of wealth and luxury, but none of them are warm and inviting. Her golden quill is bent, her expensive curtains are ugly, and the carvings on her square table, though exquisite, are rather boring. Magistra Immenfeld's furniture shows sophistication and taste, but you sense it gives her no enjoyment.
Oh.
You soon realise that your chair is far from comfortable. At least the Magistra's chair forces her to sit upright. Your chair's soft, fluffy cushions offer no support at all, and you struggle to avoid falling over. From your nearly horizontal position, you feel very small to the Magistrate. She reminds you of a bird of prey sitting on a high perch, ready to swoop down at any moment. So, the Magistrate begins. You think Magistrate Moonhair... Suddenly I've become Scottish and I don't know why.
Well, she's entered the room and taken on her true form.
Yeah.
It's Dr. Finlay's
something to do with your predicament. Aye. You'll have had your tea. I don't know what happened there at all.
What is creepy about this being... about me being in her rooms? This is not me being creepy. She's freaking creepy. Okay.
If you nod your head signifying yes, or do you shake your head saying no?
I think yes, because clearly I'm on a paranoia-fueled rampage at this stage. And I still reckon the cat has something that she should be able to tell me. 213.
They're very serious accusations, and I'm still Scottish. Yeah. Magistrate Immenfeld says, her voice uncharacteristically Scottish. Sorry, softening. I misread that.
This is going on YouTube, Fish. You realise this?
She sits silently for a long moment with hands cradling her chin with her thumbs, her index finger covering her nose as she stares at the paintings on the wall. What we're seeing here this evening, in addition to an entertaining trip into Aventuria and the Dark Eye game system, is why Fish is not a voice actor.
Yeah. Oh, she's got a disturbing painting. I'll take this one.
You find the painting greatly disturbing. The scene is one of darkness pressing in from all sides, drowning the sickly yellow glow from a small candle. It reveals a mage with crazed eyes performing a summoning. A crown of bones, a bizarre amulet, and several long bloody talons sit on the table before him. What inspired the Magistrate to buy such a thing?
What possible clue could there be?
Well, do you think she does sound like she belongs in the other academy in town? This makes sense. Magistrate Immenfeld whispers to herself, finally getting her voice back. It fits. Turning to you, she says, I believe you. This little secret stays between us. Without proof, we can do little. Be careful. Magistrate Moonhair is a powerful woman and few students can stand in her way, and I've lost it again.
Yep.
I had it for like one word.
Yes. You agree, even though you cannot say whether you intend to follow...
You agree, even though you cannot say whether you intend to follow her advice. Magistrate Immenfeld is probably right. But you sense things are not entirely as they seem. Does the Magistrate want to prevent you from solving the riddle of the Archmage's disappearance? Return to your room, she continues. I will ask around. Visit me again later. With luck, I will have learned something useful.
Uh-huh.
You nod and wait for her to say more, but then you realise that the conversation is over. It's time for you to go. You extract yourself from the upholstery room with some difficulty and leave Magistrate Immenfeld's room. Go to section 100 and pick somebody who has only a sink.
Yes. I'm going to go and look in the attic because I don't trust anybody at this stage. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to visit Magister Moonhair's room. 197. And apparently Alexia isn't seeing you not being a voice actor. Even though I've never had reason to visit the Deputy Dean's room, I know it's near Archmage Aurelian's room, and I can quickly find it. 118.
You quickly find it. You stand in front of Magistrate Moonhair's room, listening for sounds of activity within. Nobody else is around. What do you do? Wait for her to appear, knock on her door, try to peer through the keyhole, or gaze through the wall with the forbidden within the grounds of the Academy spell, Penetritzel. If you finish here, return to section... or when you finish here, return to section 100.
Okay, guys. How much of a creep do you actually think I am? I am not looking through the keyhole, and I'm not going to Penetritzel her room. I'm going to knock like a sane person.
So you go act completely against type. Okay.
Yes.
Knock on her door.
The thing is, I will be back here.
You knock on the door several times, but nobody answers. Return to section 118.
Oh, right then.
You still have 3 options.
Okay, now I'm looking through the keyhole.
Right.
I've committed to being sensible. I've done knocking. See, Alexia wanted me to knock and then be a creep. I've knocked, now I'm looking through the keyhole.
You kneel here through the lock.
No, don't kneel, just bend, for God's sake.
Inside the room it is dark, and all you can see is the outline of a chair and part of a table. At least you did not lose an eye, and certainly did not see a demon staring back at you. Neither event would have surprised you, considering who lives in this room. Turn to 118.
Okay, fine. Am I going to penetritzel the wall?
Or are you gonna try and penetritzel Magister Moonhair?
No, but I might penetritzel her door.
So we're going to 47 now.
Yes.
Well, that's going to require you, no doubt, to make the roll. Another time check there. You must admit that you're curious to see the Deputy Dean's room. You press your brow against the wall and recant the incantation.
Yes. And yes. Okay, didn't need to spend any points that time.
Okay.
I need to check how many AE I've got.
Section 60.
Hang on a sec. 47 is where I am. I just need to get the character sheet because I need to check how many AE I've got.
Yeah, you had 38 to begin with.
Oh, did I? Oh, in that case, don't worry about it. Not a problem.
Mind cuts through the stone like a fish.
What section am I on, sorry?
That's 60. That's not very good, really. I can't swim. Then your awareness expands and you can see inside Magister Moonhair's room as if you step through the... Precious little light enters through the gaps around the window shutters. All you can see are dim outlines of a wardrobe, a large table, 4 chairs, and a closed door on the other side. The room's details remain hidden. Disappointment fills you, as you always imagined the Magister's room much more interesting. But penetritzel only shows what is there, not what you hope is there. Your concentration lapses and your awareness flies back through the wall to your body. You pause to catch your breath and sit blinking in the bright corridor for a few moments. Subtract 6 AE from your total and return to section 18.
I've done that. I'm going back to 100. I'm not waiting for her.
She probably picks them up in the alchemy. Alchemy? Yeah, I kind of couldn't decide whether to say alchemical lab or alchemy lab and ended up just not saying either of them.
I'm going back to the dining room. Because...
So you're not going to wait for Magister Moonhair?
No, I'm going back to the dining room.
Right, returning to section 100.
90.
And we're going... Yeah, but we've got to go back to 100 and tick off the second box to say you can go to the dining hall a second time. Yeah, but I haven't.
Oh, God, fine.
Remember who the games master is here?
Me?
In as much as we have one.
Yeah, okay.
The dining hall is empty. If you wait around for the maids, the young student, or even Magister Aurelian to appear, go to section 166. If you decide to look elsewhere, go back to section 100.
Okay, let's go back to 100. Right.
So, you've still got Magister Brutum's rooms, advice from Magister Tiernan, searching the cellar, searching the courtyard, searching the attic, or returning to your room.
I really don't want to go back to my room. But somebody may have left me a note or something. You know, like your exam's been cancelled, Magister Williams suffering from a dose.
Maybe if you go back to your room, you'll find yourself still lying asleep in bed, and then you'll wake up in the shower.
I'm going back to my room. Okay, I'm going to go back to my room and check it. Because there's nothing says I have to stay there. So ticking that off, and then 86.
Okay, that's another time counter.
Of course it is. I'll
You
turn to...
return to your room for a
okay.
needed rest, half expecting to find Archmage Aurelian waiting for you. But your hope fades as... Let's not go there! Let's not go there! Your hope fades as you open the door to find the landing empty just as you left it. Exhausted, you flop down on the bed. Solving the riddle of Magister Aurelian's disappearance is taxing, and you need a few seconds to gather your thoughts. The search is not proceeding as well as you expected. Groggily, you look around and take a mental inventory of contents. Wobbly stool, table, water jug, wardrobe, 2 bottles of translucent blue liquid, notebook. Wait! You do not own any bottles of translucent blue liquid. Upon closer examination, you determine they are magical potions. When imbibed, each restores 1d6 plus 8 arcane energy up to your maximum amount. Now, are these the ones that are already on your list?
These must be, given the next paragraph.
What are they doing here? Potions like these are rare even at a school, the Academy of Transformation, and most students could not afford one such bottle. School rules forbid students from entering each other's dorm rooms uninvited, but potions are not illegal. So what reason could somebody have for placing them here?
They're not,
no?
Because they give a different amount.
Oh.
One is a d6, one's a d6 plus 2 on the ones on my character sheet. From what I remember. These were d6 plus 8.
You doubt someone owes you a favour. Regardless, you are grateful for the unexpected gift. With renewed courage, you store the bottles in your pocket. Maybe destiny does favour you. Who can tell for sure? Record the bottle in your inventory and go to section 1.
So yes, I've got 2 potions of restoring lots.
Mm-hmm.
Right, density, huh? Am I going to go for the third of the teachers? Yes, drink the odds unspecified potion that shouldn't be there. Yeah, it'll be fine.
D6 and D6 plus 2, the ones that you've got, that you had before. So now you've got 2 D6 plus 8s as well.
I'm a bit scared now, to be honest.
That's a bit weird, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to seek advice from Magister Tiernan. 188.
Okay. First of Magister Tiernan.
Yeah, and a bit concerned about the time tracker.
Magister Storder, that's actually a mouse cursor that just made it look like it was an L there. Tiernan is a living legend, respected the world over for his brilliant insights into magical theory. Sadly, his mind suffers from the ravages of time and old age, and he often gets lost on his way to class. You know what voice he's going to have, don't you?
Yes. Yes, I do.
He's going to have written a book.
I bet he's written the book, yes.
This does not bother him in the least, however, for he just as often forgets where he's going. This malady affects every aspect of his life except his knowledge of magic, which remains as solid and dependable as ever. As Magister Horrigan would say, if you want to find Magister Tiernan, look where you do not expect to find him. Thus, you skip his room in the library, and you also ignore the laboratories and the scriptoriums. Instead, you start with the gazebo in the courtyard, and lo, you find him. The ancient man sits alone on the ground, clad in a white robe. As you draw nearer, you notice that he is lecturing to some doves about the topic of arcane energy. The flux maximus permeates us all, he says. Its fine web unfolding like a network of arteries and veins. However, instead of the red stuff of life, power flows through that pulsing web. This power is intrinsic to every creature on Derry, but controllable only by those with the magical gift. You are fortunate, not simply because you are part of the Reticulum Arcanum, but because you can control it. The Magister pauses to let his words sink in, but the doves show no visible reaction. Eventually, one twitches its head, and then all the birds start running to and fro, cooing excitedly. Magister Tiernan tries to regain their attention, but the birds refuse to listen, and he sits down on the bench in defeat.
Magister Tiernan, am I interrupting anything?
You ask softly, trying not to startle him. The mage turns towards the sound of your voice, his cloudy eyes straining to see you, and then his face lights up. I know you. Dinner time already, Ludwina?
If I admit I'm not Ludwina, go to 121. If I try to impersonate Ludwina, a rosy-cheeked maid with a limp, go to section 35. Oh my god.
You know?
Oh, I love the magic lecture to the doves. That appeals to me. Oh God, do I have the sufficient nous? Guys, chat, help me out here. Do I pretend to be a limping, rosy-cheeked maid? Or do I say I'm not Ludwina? I can't decide, honestly. This whole book is me eating mushrooms. I think it could well be. Oh, God.
So, which will it be?
Say I'm not. Okay, Magpie. I don't think my character's actually got a functioning sense of humour, which I think that would come under. So, yeah, that sounds more likely. I am not Ludwina. 121, please.
Right, 121.
Magister Tiernan, I'm not Ludwina. My name is...
But the Magister interrupts you. Ludwina, I knew it, he declares with a grin. People say my eyes are weak and my mind is slipping, but that's not true. I recognize you. You don't have the heart to argue with him. You're a student of the prestigious Levangan Academy of Transformation. If it makes the old professor happy, you can pretend to be Ludwina for a little while. Go to section 2.
I tried.
Your line.
Yes, Magister Tiernan, it's Ludwina. Oh, sorry, no. They just read the stage direction. Yes, Magister Tiernan, it's Ludwina. No matter what other people say, I know the truth. Your eyes miss nothing. I should be doing this in the southern drawl. This is suddenly a section from Knives Out. I know the truth. Your eyes miss nothing and your mind is as sharp as ever. But your ears are apparently knackered.
The maid smiles sheepishly, saying, "You're always nice to me. I burden you with demands and really thank you for your kindness." You've seen him get emotional and you silently hope this is not one of those times. But then you see the first tear rolling down his cheek. What do you say?
I'm happy to help. There's no shame in growing old and feeble. Don't mention it. Your smile is thanks enough. You could act a bit more grateful. Hi, you're old and crap. Don't worry about it. Oh, for God's sake. Come on. Has this woman been kept in a cupboard her entire life? Actually, she's been kept in the library her entire school life. So yeah. Actually. However, what would Ludwina say? Ludwina would say, probably in an accent that I can't do, "Don't mention it, your smile is thanks enough. Please stop crying. I don't want an upset demonologist."
As always, you're too lenient with an old man, he says, wiping away tears with the back of his hand. It must be time to eat. Would you like to sit with me in the dining hall? You shake your head, saying that you have other duties to perform, and anyway, you're not hungry. The old Magister nods, but you see a hint of disappointment in his eyes. You try a different approach, saying,
Magister Tiernan, I have an important question. I must find Magister Moonhair. Have you seen her?
Mela? The Magister says distantly. I often see Mela, yes. He then nods to himself and falls silent. You gaze at him expectantly, but soon realize he has answered your question. Patience running thin, you ask a more precisely worded question.
When and where did you last see Magister Moonhair? Sorry, willpower, courage, intuition, and charisma. Oh, God.
With a +3 bonus, though.
With a +3 bonus.
So essentially, all three of your courage, intuition, and charisma are counted 3 higher for purposes of this roll.
I will keep up my sweet voice. So, that's 16. So, a 7 will do it. That one is... Yep. That's not even borderline. That was a really easy one. Mm-hmm. What, draw a knife and threaten to cut his beard? You went to uni with this girl.
So section 59.
Yes.
Then. The Magister turns towards you and squints as if trying to focus on your face. Sinmela, Sinmela, he mumbles. Then his face brightens and he says, I saw her at breakfast today. I'm sure of that. She was there early before anyone else arrived. Yes, I saw her in the dining hall. The Magister chuckles and then breaks into a hearty belly laugh, slaps his thigh, then falls onto his side, overcome by some private joke. I'm not sure if you believe his story, but what choice do you have? Turn to section 100.
But, so, Magister Tiernan is as frotty as a newt cake. And yet still one of the more coherent...
head of BBC Radio Comedy.
How do you? Right. Techie is making a point. I'm going to search the attic.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not the worst thing I could do. I've done all them. So, advancing the time tracker, 75.
Yes. You climb the ladder to the observatory, a small chamber on the top floor of the school.
There's
A comfy arrangement of cushions adorns the floor, but probably also adores it. I don't know. The cushions and the floor, they've got a committed relationship. They've been together for many years now, and everyone's just waiting for the announcement of their first child. Beneath a large glass skylight. Normally it would afford an excellent view, but the sky today is dull, uniform grey. You pry open a small hatch and crawl into the dusty, stifling, low-ceilinged attic. The only illumination comes from a small shuttered opening in the roof. You search the whole attic but only find a couple of blankets, a badly hidden bag of intoxicants, and two crude drawings of dwarfs in the act of love. Nothing indicates here that a kidnapping took place, but it is merely a testament to the busy behaviour of some of your classmates. You return to the observatory, brushing away the cobweb. Hang on. You return from the observatory, perhaps, brushing away the cobwebs.
No, return to the observatory from the attic.
Observatory, yeah, I suppose, yeah, from the attic to the observatory. Yeah, and then back to section 100.
Yeah. I've no idea what the time tracker says, by the way.
This is probably a good time to look. Time tracker, ooh, look at that, 12. We're on 12 on the time tracker.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom.
I'm going to search the courtyard. Actually, legitimate drugs did happen, Alexia. But they weren't mine, and apparently I left them there. I didn't add them to my inventory. Nor did I add the dwarf porn.
That's actually a little surprising. I mean, point-and-click adventures, you take everything, and you'd have had the dwarf porn in a heartbeat.
Yes. Alexia, there better be some more because we need them. 51, please, fish.
Searching the courtyard, right.
Yes.
The upper levels of the dormitory open onto the inner courtyard through rows of columns. Even though little direct sunlight reaches the ground because of the tall buildings, magic ensures that colourful, fragrant flowers bloom here all around. Flagrant flowers, yeah. The flagrant flowers you see are to do with the chances of the floor and the cushions upstairs having kids. Students usually spend their free time here, either walking the paths and admiring the flowers, or else standing or sitting around in small groups, chatting, gossiping, or reading. Today, however, you only see servants going about their business. As you recall, most faculty and students are off campus celebrating the end of term. You take a few moments to smell the fresh air, gaze at the beautiful ivy-entwined gazebo, which has a million hit points, and enjoy a moment of calm. But alas, you do not find Magister Hare or Archmage Aurelian.
Okay.
Go to section 100. At least it didn't cost you time.
No. Okay. I'm going to see if I can get into Magister Brutum's room. So 9.
Okay. Magister Brutum. Et tu, Brutum?
Yes.
Magister Brutum occupies a special place within the school. Barely 30 years old, he's the school's youngest teacher. He specialises in the paralysis research.
I'm sorry, does he roofie people?
Apparently. While not well regarded in the academy, this spell is quite popular with students, as most know at least one person they think deserves to spend time as a statue. You can think of one such person right now, Magister Brutum, and many students would agree with you. Unlike Magister Horrigan, a stern but fair teacher, Magister Brutum fails to inspire. He acts casually and pretends to be everyone's friend until he turns on them. New students find this behavior entertaining, but they soon recognize the deception. Though not as stern as other teachers, Brutum is unpredictable, except when in the company of Magister Moonhair, that is. His affection for her is the worst-kept secret in the school. You cringe just thinking about it, and you're almost glad that his door is closed when you arrive. Go to section 64. Oh yes, Lucian would not like that. I think hold person needs to become a commonly memorized prepared spell in that party, just for Lucian, isn't it?
I'm getting concerned.
You're standing in front of Magister Brutum's door. Nobody else is around. A stone bench sits to one side of the door. What do you do? Wait patiently, knock on the door, try to look through the keyhole, or try to gaze through the wall by casting Penetritzel.
Oh God, am I going to Penetritzel the room again? Shall we just cut straight to the chase and Penetritzel it?
Cut straight to the Penetritzel.
I'm going to cut straight to the Penetritzel. Besides, I know how to roll Penetritzel.
Okay, well, that's a time check, and we know the we know the pattern now. School rules forbid students from using Penetritzel to gaze through walls into other people's rooms. Like many students, you obey the rules. Why would anyone in their right mind risk expulsion for something so puerile? Before today, you would never have considered risking expulsion to look inside Magister Brutum's room. However, special situations call for special actions. Besides, the risk of accidental discovery is lower now than ever before. You press your brow to the wall and recite the incantation.
Penetritzel. Penetritzel. I'm getting more sinister every time I cast it. I just made it, by the way, because I knew what I needed to roll. So 15.
Okay, to 15 then.
And I'm knocking 6 AE off my list.
Yeah. You focus your mind on a tiny spot, and your awareness begins to pierce the surface of the cool stone. The effort is tiring, but you look forward to discovering what lies beyond. The wall's resistance gives way, and your mind breaks through. Subtract 6 AE from your total.
What I'm going to do,
you would never expect that someone so universally disliked, sorry, carry on,
is I'm actually going to down one of the potions I started with. The one that gives me a D6 AE back.
Ah, okay.
Actually, no, I'm going to use the one that gives me a D6 plus 2.
You would never expect that someone so universally disliked would enjoy hobbies or possess an eye for decor, yet the evidence is clear. Magister Brutum's chamber is furnished quite elegantly, not eloquent. You see a bed, some books, a wardrobe, and a small chest, all of which are probably common sights in any mage's quarters. You also see a gleaming marble table, a pair of tall, well-proportioned marble chairs, and, displayed throughout the room, stones of many shapes and sizes, large and small, rough and polished, round and square, hewn and unshaped, and in tones ranging from lightest greys to deepest blacks. The arrangement is worthy of an art gallery. Only someone with a poet's soul could have curated such a beautiful collection. Strange as it seems, this is the first truly human trait you've observed in the Magister, and you now regret invading his privacy. Make a perception, notice, or search check. That's on sagacity, intuition, and intuition.
Right. Hang on. I'm concerned, actually. He's into paralyzation, and he's got loads of different sized stones in his rooms.
He keeps a piece of each of his victims.
Oh, yeah. Sagacity into int. So, 15. That's a 1. 14. That's an 11. And 14. That's an 8.
Okay, section 212 it is.
Okay.
Magister Brutum's room is tidy and neat. Nothing seems out of place. Though his art collection is beautiful, you see no portraits of loved ones and can find no signs that he has ever had visitors. The room feels cold and dead as a stone. Is this a clue to Magister Brutum's behaviour? You always assumed he only pretended to be friendly to disguise a cruel thirst for power. But has he simply been desperate for acceptance? Is he lonely?
I think this is a psychological portrait of my student. who has actually been driven into the depths of paranoia through overwork. And she is, in fact, just projecting
this entire thing is taking
situation
place within her subconscious.
while high on dodgy grain porridge. Asleep in bed. And hello, Sage is evil. Welcome to Weird Shit.
Welcome to the madhouse.
Yes.
You feel increasingly uneasy. You intruded too long. You allow your perception to flow back into your body. Then, right in front of your nose, so obvious that you didn't notice it at first, you see a letter tucked beneath the stone. Part of the letter is obscured, but you can read it easily enough. Your mind races. But what does it mean? Clearly, Magister Brutum intended to hide that note beneath the stone, but why bother if nobody can enter the room? These questions play havoc with your concentration, and the spell matrix collapses, ejecting your mind from the room and hurling your awareness back into your body. Overcome with nausea, you fall to your knees and retch. As it passes, you wipe your mouth with your sleeve, take a moment to shake the numbness out of your limbs, and climb back to your feet, returning to section 60. Well, I know what the note says because I looked at the picture at the bottom of the page.
Yeah. What I am going to briefly say is a reminder that on Saturday, after the Rusty Quill stream, I will be doing a Subs Call the Shots session of Darkest Dungeon. So anyone who is a current or recent subscriber gets to come in and tell me what to do and how to play my game. And I'm going to be experimenting with double streaming it to both Twitch and across Discord, so people can just watch it even if you're muted and get an instant feedback without lag, so they can type suggestions into chat or just say it. So that should be a laugh. And yeah, people get ever so attached and generally try and get me killed.
I thought that was the whole point.
Well, I think that is pretty much the whole point. Okay. So
you're back at 64.
I'm going to look through the keyhole.
Outside the room.
I'm going to look through the keyhole because I've looked through the wall.
You're looking through the keyhole.
I know that there is something under the stone. So 156.
Like any other door to a teacher's office or private room, this door has a keyhole, but you cannot see through it. A stone-like substance blocks it completely. You do not know how Magister Brutum bypasses it to unlock his door, but you have seen crazier things within these walls. It certainly is a good deterrent. Go back to section 60.
Okay. I could try knocking, I guess. I haven't done that yet.
No, but you did penetrate all the room, so you know that he's not in.
I know, but something might be. And besides, I've thrown up on his doorstep, so frankly... 34.
So you're going to knock and go to 30.
Yeah.
You knock, but there is no response. If Magister Brutum is home, he does not open the door.
Okay. I'm not going to wait patiently. I'm going to go to section 100.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because it's just going to be a time check if you wait.
Yeah.
Unless he actually turns up.
Yeah. I'm going to the cellar. 173.
You're going to the cellar.
They could have an away message. Yes.
That's the time check.
Oh, of course it is.
You cannot imagine an abductor hiding Archmage Aurelian in the cellar.
You're the only
Villains like
to
have multiple escape routes, and the cellar has only one way in or out, namely a lone staircase to the first floor. However, people act in all manner of irrational ways, so perhaps you should take at least a quick look at it. You light a candle and follow the stairs to the cellar. This floor is silent, as most students and teachers went into town for the day. You expect to meet only the alchemicus, Master Horrigan, puttering around in his laboratory classrooms. You head there first, but those rooms are vacant. Which is odd, because he was there earlier.
Yep.
You backtrack to the stairs and continue west along the corridor. The doors for both the small and large ritual rooms stand open. You can see those rooms, and the connected storage room are vacant. Nearby, other storage rooms for food and consumables are also vacant. You know these rooms from your duties over the years. You spent many hours here taking inventory or fetching items for various crates, chests, files, sacks, and barrels. One door sends shivers down your spine. The room beyond contains a large pool, practicing the spell Breathe Water, a spell you have not yet learned. You try to suppress an image of Magister Aurelian floating face down as you open the door and peer inside.
At least I opened and looked this time instead of just magically peeping Tomming my way through everything.
To your relief, the room is vacant, and the same is true for the bathing room and the laundry with its connected storage room. You really seem to be alone down here. A bit disappointed, you sit down on a pile of shattered brick, debris left after workers excavated an old walled-off door last year. You look at the thick oak portal which students jokingly refer to as the Forbidden Door. The faculty hoped it concealed hidden knowledge, but a flood collapsed the corridor beyond the door, ending plans to explore what lies beyond. Magister Aurelian placed a magic lock upon the door and proclaimed it off-limits. But this only fueled students' curiosity and resulted in no end of mischief. Eventually the door earned its ominous nickname. For unknown reasons, nobody tried to wall it off again. You suddenly view the Forbidden Door as a symbol of your failure. For centuries, nobody bothered to explore what lies beyond. When people wanted to try, however, no amount of expectation or enthusiasm could prevent their failure. Just like your search for Magister. No, you do not accept that. You did not fail, and you will not give up. But the cellar has nothing more to offer. Return to section 100.
Right.
Well, you have almost no options left now.
I do. Fish, where am I on the time tracker? Save me losing the page.
Right, on the time tracker are at 14.
Ooh.
If all the circles are crossed off and you need to cross off the circle, instantly go to section 100.
Well, the thing is, even if I do, I suppose this could lead to multiple ones. Right, I am going to go back to Magister Tiernan, because I think he's a lovely old doddery person who might have information I need.
Back to Magister Totteridge.
Yes,
okay.
84.
On 84. Even though your previous encounter with Magister Tiernan was unproductive, you again seek his help. Where do you look this time? If you seek him in his room, go to section 146. If you look in the library, go to section 40. If you look in the dining hall, go to section 69. If you look where you found him last time in the gazebo, go to section 207. If you change your mind about looking for the Magister now, return to section 100 and erase the mark in the second selection. So, for Magister
I'm going to go to 69. Nice. And because he said he was going to get some
the
food.
dining hall, because that's where he said he was going. You enter the dining hall, but it is empty. Disappointed, you turn to leave, but then you have a strange thought. You no longer expect to find Magister Tiernan here because you just looked here, but since he always turns up when nobody expects to find him, he should walk into the dining hall shortly after you leave. You decide on an unusual tactic. You pour yourself a mug of water and take a seat in the middle of the dining hall. Now all you need is a little patience. Go to section 170.
Okay. She's learning from the mad druggie in the cellar. Be unpredictable and weird.
You pour a second mug of water, then a third, and even scandalously drink from the water pitcher just to relieve the monotony. Then a new thought occurs to you. By expecting to find the Magister in the dining hall, you unintentionally made the dining hall the last place he would go. You changed the conditions, and therefore the expectations of your search. Berating yourself for failing to solve a simple logic puzzle, you place your mug in the wash rack and leave the dining hall. Go to section 84 as soon as you've screwed your head back on.
Yes! Okay.
So, his room, the library, you know the dining hall, there's no point going there, but it's not going to stop you if you want to.
I'm going to go look for him in the gazebo again.
Back to
he
the
shouldn't
gazebo.
Be there, but you never know.
As soon as you enter the courtyard, a realization hits you that you smile. Magister Horrigan, popular with all his students for his caring nature, has always earned great respect for his wisdom and advice. While with other teachers, especially in the last few years of school, you like to ask what... Hang on. While with other teachers, especially in the last few years of school, you like to ask what they're trying to convey. Hang on. Yeah, no, I was reading that right first time out.
You were.
It's a horrible sentence.
It is.
While with other teachers, especially in the last few years, you like to ask what they're trying to convey. Magister Horrigan's wisdom always seems unassailable. And at that moment, you realize that not wisdom, or as some say, the gift of clairvoyance is the source of his advice.
Huh?
Yeah, whatever. But shrewdness. Sorry, for some reason, this paragraph really throwing. Magister Horrigan's advice to seek out Master Tiernan where you cannot expect him can never be wrong. Once you have heard this advice, you always think about where the confused mage might be. Thanks to Magister Horrigan's advice, however, you immediately reject this thesis and search in the most impossible places. If you do not find him there, you always explain this with the fact that you expected him there. And if you do find him, it's because you did not expect him there in the first place. The old mage is still sitting under the gazebo in the courtyard and attentively watching the playful flight of a butterfly. For any other resident of the academy, one would have taken it for granted to search for them again where you had last seen them. But thanks to Magister Horrigan's wisdom, you cannot do this with Magister Tiernan. Now that the mage is still sitting here, this seems to you to be the most unlikely case, and that it would have been more likely if the scatterbrained mage had just disappeared. As you approach the gazebo,
Really
as you approach the gazebo, you recall something you heard Archmage say here in the courtyard when you first arrived at the school. Young students admire their professors and accept their teachings, but old students tend to question and doubt. You will prove you are ready for your final exams when you can look past your professor's demeanor and acknowledge and honor their lifetime accomplishments. You certainly admire Magister Horrigan, a popular, caring, and respected professor.
Oh, he did.
Magister Tiernan is difficult to fathom. The often confused Magister shows no reaction when you sit down next to him. He stares at the butterfly, a boyish grin on his face. Do you clear your throat and try to draw his attention, or do you comment on the butterfly's beauty?
I'm going to talk about the butterfly. 179.
Section 179.
This is a beautiful butterfly, Magister Tiernan.
You say, but the mage interrupts you with a harsh gesture. He looks angrily from the butterfly to you back and starts, why are you interrupting me? Can you not see I'm busy? The young always think they know what is best. That's your problem, Roderick. You never learn respect. If you try to calm the Magister with gentle words, go to section 112. If you dare to calm him using the spell Ban Baladin, even though such will be difficult, go to section 77.
I am not going to attempt to cast a spell on an archmage.
He's not an archmage, he's a professor.
But yeah, I'm not certain. 112, please.
Gentle words on 112 then.
Yeah.
You worry about the old man. Anger seems to rule much of his life. Do his faulty memories hold him prisoner? Fear and uncertainty. You search your mind for the right words to say, but nothing comes to you and you must rely on intuition. Make an empathy, sagacity, intuition, and charisma check with a -4 penalty.
Sagacity, intuition, charisma. Okay, so I need 11s. So I'm blowing 2 points of my skill.
What is, how many ranks or whatever it is have you got in empathy?
Yeah, I'm looking. 4. Okay, so 2 of them have just gone to get my sagacity.
2 of them have already gone?
Yeah, and the rest is harder. Charisma and intuition, wasn't it?
Intuition, yes.
So is it intuition next or charisma?
It is indeed.
Intuition, okay. So I need 10s. That's an 8. That'll do. And charisma,
finally,
I need 8s.
Charisma.
Oh, God. Well, that's a 7. So, okay, I'll take that. So I've got 2 points left of my empathy, of my
So, success, and
skill.
you can go to section 93.
Okay.
Just purely out of vague interest before we read section 93. Let me just point out that 0 to 3 remaining skill points is a quality level 1. Okay. This isn't using the quality levels for your skills. But that's the way it works. You need 4 or more points left to get higher than quality. So
Okay.
0 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 to 12, 13 to 15, up to 16 points left, and you have a quality level of 6.
We need to play more Dark Eye.
That will affect various things depending on the type of check that you are doing, obviously.
Yeah. It's the quality level is basically how well you've succeeded.
Yeah.
Right.
So
93.
the two of you sit in silence, watching the butterfly until it floats away on the breeze. Magister Tiernan watches it go and then smiles at you. Thank you for sharing this. Do people take time from their lives to sit with an old man? Guilt tugs at your heart, and you open your mouth to speak, but the Magister continues. You did not come out here to talk about a butterfly. What brings you to me? You briefly explain your urgent need to find Magister Moonhair. Magister Tiernan looks at you with terrible sadness in his eyes. You know the state of my mind. I cannot trust my memories. I believe I saw Mail twice today. Once in the dining hall and later near the stairs to the cellar. But I may be wrong. You hear desperation in the old Magister's voice, but nevertheless you think his mind is sharper than it has been in years. You take his hand and thank him for his invaluable help. The worry in his features melts away and he beams at you, his face full of joy. As you turn to leave, the butterfly returns and briefly alights on the Magister's outstretched hand. Go to section 1.
Oh no!
Oh dear.
Valkyrie!
Yeah. The moment we read the description of this guy and the fact that his mind was going, I had to do the. I think it's Arnold Totteridge.
Arnold Totteridge, yeah. Yes, that was indeed
He's
Arnold Totteridge.
definitely written a book, you know.
Yeah, he's written.
I reckon he's probably head of BBC Radio Comedy.
Yep. Yes, but I was nice to him anyway.
So. You've only got 2 options left. Back to Magister Immenfeld or back again to Tiernan, who you've only just left.
Yeah. There is a nasty concept that Tiernan would have noticed I'd left and come back, to be honest. Magister Immenfeld scares me. Well, what am I on the time tracker? About 17?
Hey.
And
you are at 16, so you've got 4 ticks of the time tracker left before you go straight to 600.
I still resent that Nivea refused to talk to me. Literally.
For those who missed that point earlier on, Nivea is a cat.
Possibly.
No, Nivea is a cat. Whether Nivea used to be something else is irrelevant. Now Nivea is a cat.
Okay, fair. You guys move it upside down for a bit. It's still working. Oh, no. So, yes, Chrono, you are absolutely welcome to the stream. Oh, yeah, I would have been... I couldn't be nasty to him. I just couldn't. Couldn't do it. He's lovely.
He's a wonderful old bloke.
He is.
You love him.
He's great. He's probably either, hero
He's probably
or
evil. He's probably the villain, yeah.
I still reckon that the guy who's evil is probably the potions manufacturer in the basement laboratories.
The friendly one everybody likes. Well, yeah, that's the obvious bit.
The friendly one everybody likes, who starts by making them potions and giving them stuff. And feeding them strange concoctions. Mushrooms may have been involved. Okay, I'm going to go back to Magister Immenfeld because then you can inflict that accent on people again.
Okay, Magister Immenfeld loop.
All of those accents, in fact.
Yeah, I wonder which accent she'll be using today. I couldn't stick with the same one for 2 sentences last time.
142. I've advanced the time tracker.
42.
Oh, okay.
Roll 1 die. If the result is even, go to section 26. If odd, section 120.
Because she told me to go back to my room. That's a 20, so that's even. So 26.
26 we're going to.
Yep.
You return to Magistrate Immenfeld's room, but her door is locked and she does not seem to be present. Casting Penetritzel or another spell on her room is out of the question.
Why not? I've been doing it to everybody else.
You don't to everyone else's room. You wait for a moment in case she returns, but then quickly search the nearby corridors, but without luck. You've no idea where she is. Maybe you should try again later. Return to section 100 and erase the mark in the second selection circle. Magistrate Immenfeld. In other words, it is a 50-50 random chance whether you will find her second time, but you can keep trying to do. So, are you just going to try again or go back to Tiernan? Because that's the only places you haven't been.
I'm going to go back to Tiernan. On the 133.
Okay, 133. Nothing involving Magister Tiernan is ever boring. Despite Magister Horrigan's advice, you look for the old mage at the gazebo, but he's not there. Looking further will cost you time. If you continue searching, go to section 162. Or are you going to go back to 100 and then look for Magistra Weird Voice?
Give me a sec. Hang on. I'm going to continue searching.
On a subject related to chat, by the way, Trat, you realise, of course, that you've got a graphics tablet pen thing, and that Affinity Designer has some quite good watercolour brushes.
I do, and
I mean, I know it's not the same as actually painting with watercolours.
I was in Wilco today, so
mention it to you.
I thought since I was there, I picked up one of the £2 sets of watercolours and a specific watercolour tablet pad. So I thought since I was in anyhow, I wouldn't have gone out specially for it.
So, what did you
162.
decide? You're going to 162. You think about where you expect to find Magister Tiernan and briefly consider whether to search only that location, but you decide to look everywhere. You try the dining hall, the library, the yard, his room, anywhere he might be, but you find no trace of him. Magister Tiernan is also missing. If you continue the search, go to 72. If you give up, return to 100.
I think Magister
I've
Horrigan
used a time check on that.
I did indeed advance the time track. I reckon that Master Horrigan is hosting a party and everybody else is there. All the teachers are there and all the students are fecked off into town. Chrono, canonically, my character is an immense creep. She's awful. She has no friends. She has spent 9 years studying and ignoring her classmates. She's argued with her tutor, and her first response when discovering that her archmage had not turned up to administer her exam was to
assume he'd been murdered or abducted.
To assume he'd been kidnapped by somebody else, and she's also convinced one of the other magisters has poisoned her porridge.
Tiernan, who we're looking for at the moment, is the doddery old bloke.
Yeah.
Magister Totteridge.
Yes. We haven't been to 72 yet, have we?
No, that's the next place to go if we want to continue.
I'm sorry, Kit Kat Fudge Cookies. Hello.
Well,
that's just unfair. 72 then. And
going
advancing the time track.
72 and
what
another click on the time track.
Because that's got to put me up to about 19.
I reckon that's. I think that's probably 19. Yep, you've got one more safely, and then the one after that will send you to section 111.
Okay, and I was erasing that last one for Magister Tiernan, wasn't I? Not Magister Tiernan, Magister Immenfeld.
Yes,
because I
you
didn't
can try
find her.
Immenfeld again, and we were going to 70.
72 just sends me back basically to 100 because
back to 100.
He's not there.
Nearly an hour has passed since you started your search. You decided to get the old magistrate. Look elsewhere for clues.
Yeah, I'm going to 142.
So the only thing you've got is Immenfeld. 142 adds to the time track, so that's the last one that we've got. One more time track, and you're going to 111. roll the die. If it's even, we go to 26. If it's odd, we go to 19. And we
Okay.
know what even will do. It will
Yep.
just send us back to.
Well, I got the 3 this time.
So let's see what 119 does.
Oh, hang on,
for us.
no. Because this just advanced the time track and sent me, and I hit 20.
Yeah, it's 21.
Oh, was it 21?
When you need to add a time track and it's already full,
Okay.
that's when you go to 111. So this is your last.
Right.
To go to 111.
Oh, something
you
may
go
have
to
happened.
Magistrate Immenfeld's room, but her door is locked and she does not seem to be present. You wait for a moment and are just about to leave when the gaunt woman comes hurrying around the corner. She waves at you with all the joy and excitement of a 6-year-old sharing her discovery of a dragon's egg with her best friend, something you never expected to see in her. The magistrate looks in all directions, as if checking for spies, and then whispers conspiratorially, if I can just manage to find a voice for her this time. I think you're right. I learned Brutum and Moonhair recently spent an unusual amount of time in the cellar. My sources saw the two disappear behind the crate at the intersection several times.
Hang on, if she'd said the attic, then I would have assumed it was them who left the intoxicants and the porn up there.
You nod slowly, secretly doubting the mage has any sources. Who willingly speaks with her? Of course, willingly may have nothing to do with it. She is scary, even when exhibiting childish glee, and people might answer her questions out of pure fear. A shiver runs down your spine, and you thank her for the information. She concludes by saying, I cannot help you any further, but I think that is for the best. Her features then resume their customary gruffness, and she quickly ducks inside her room, all pretense of sociability gone. However, as the door slams shut behind her, you think you hear her utter a quiet, good luck.
You're going
Go to section 100, and there's nothing left.
Yep. So,
see if the sidebar says anything.
I'm still worried about that.
No, the sidebar doesn't actually give us any indication of what to do if we were at 100 with nothing to do.
I'm guessing that it's supposed to be that you can't finish all those without topping up. I may have missed one or just misclicked or something. Although it's your tracker we're using, so. No, my time tracker reckons it's full.
Yeah, my time tracker reckons it's full, and one more time track will then take you to...
If all circles... Oh, yeah, good point. You know what I'm going to do? Yeah. I'm going to reinvestigate something I have investigated. I didn't mean to go to 111. I meant to go to 100.
Technically not allowed to...
Soft cheddar. I'm... See? Naked. That's not necessarily me. I mean, it could be me.
It's got the right colour of hair.
It does indeed have the right colour of hair.
Given that there is a... we know that there are stats for you in rat in
form.
This scenario, because we've seen them. I'm guessing that is you casting the spell to transform into a rat.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we're going to have to go to 111, really.
Yeah, okay. It's either that or I go and try and find Nivea again.
I wonder if this is actually an error at the bottom of 100, where it says if you cross off the last circle of the time tracker, go to section 111. Now, it also says that on the time tracker. I wonder if that should be if you cross off the last circle.
Okay, good night.
Here, go to 111.
Yeah. Should we just go to 111 then?
Because we don't really have anywhere else we can go. So, should we just go to 111?
Oops.
Oh, okay. 111 is a bad idea then.
Let's go back to 100 and reinvestigate something.
Yeah.
I want to reinvestigate Nivea.
What the hell?
151.
You want to redo Nivea? Okay. Well, that takes us straight to 111 because it adds a time counter.
No. But the 5-finger bookmark. Oh no. Fish, I can't just let it finish. I can't just let it go.
Yeah, what did we do wrong?
I think we've investigated everything. The only thing I haven't done is I
Because we,
haven't tried turning myself into an animal.
yeah, the only thing that it can be is one of the things that we,
Yeah.
one of the times where we didn't complete all the options somewhere. Um,
I want to try and talk. I want to use
for
37.
example, we didn't wait at Brutum's room.
No.
Um,
I'm sorry, Fish. I would
uh,
very much like to try and use the Salander or Wolf Paw spell.
we didn't wait at either Moonhair or Brutum's rooms.
No, that's true. You're going to make me wait at the doors, aren't you?
I'm thinking I might just click through and check what those would actually have given us.
Ah.
Okay, you wait patiently in front of Magister Moonhair's room. Time asking yourself, okay, the longer you wait, the more meaningless it seems. It's also a time check, obviously. The Magister would never return to her room with an accuser waiting for her. This is admittedly not the best place to stage an ambush, given the rather public location of the door. You begin to hope she does not appear after all. When you finally tire of waiting, a maid named Culvina trundles down the hall with her cleaning equipment. Culvina's grumpy demeanour and perpetually squinted eyes are bad enough. The large wart on her chin renders her especially creepy in the eyes of younger students. Older students often dare each other to waste her time with frivolous requests, and you understand now why she remains suspicious of students. Instead of greeting you, she snarls,
Ah!
"What are you doing here?" If you reply, "Me? Nothing, I just happen to be walking by," go to section 83. If you answer, "I seek Magister Aurelian," go to section 141. If you say, "I wish to speak with Magister Moonhair," go to section 11.
I wish to speak with Magister Moonhair. Let's start with the least suspicious one. I've just discovered what happens if you advance the time tracker past the page, by the way. It flicks you to page 111.
Ah, that's well programmed.
It is. However, I'm not
The
taking it.
Magister is not here, she explains in a patronizing tone that would make a teacher proud. "Move along, Magister Moonhair wants me to clean her room." She waves you away as she pulls a key from her apron and unlocks it. Maybe all that waiting was valuable after all. Culvina has a key to the door.
Ah.
If you ask Culvina to admit you into Magister Moonhair's room, go to section 32. If you prefer to try magic instead of persuasion, go to section 53. If you decide to stop bothering the poor maid, return to section 100.
It's got to be magic, hasn't it?
I think you had to wait long enough to get into the room,
Yeah.
and that by not doing so, we basically screwed up the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to 53.
We were too impatient and messed everything up.
Yep.
Right, 53. You ponder which spell to cast. Corprofesso creates blinding pain to incapacitate a target, but you would never use that on her. If you use Ban Baladin to befriend her so that she lets you into section 97. If you go Caution to the Wind, and if you know the spell, and cast Salander to turn her into a piglet, go to section 161. If you cast Paralysis on her, go to section 48. If you decide to simply leave the old woman in peace, return to section 1.
I'm thinking Ban Baladin is going to be the way to go. 97.
Ban Baladin, section 97. You focus on Culvina and speak the incantation. Roll to cast Ban Baladin. Courage, intuition, and charisma. Yeah. If you have fewer than 8 arcane energy or you fail, go to section 56.
I've got loads. I've got loads because I downed that potion.
Got all the energy. All the arcane energy.
Okay, so courage. That's a 6. That's a 6. Okay, am I getting the befriending spell of the beast? And that's a 5. Okay, so it's the fax number of the beast. I succeeded,
Right,
so 193.
193 then. The spell succeeds and Grumpy Culvina now considers you her best friend. Of course she will allow you into the room. Of course she won't tell a soul. And of course she's happy to run and fetch you some bread and cheese from the kitchen. You breathe easier when she leaves, but you feel sorry for her. Does she have any real friends? The students have not acted kindly towards her over the years, and your behaviour is no exception. She has good reason to mistrust you all. Vowing to make amends for it later, you light a candle and enter the...
Is this going to
Subtract
be
8 AE
that
from your
you are the
total and go
nicest
to
person?
section 6.
You've become a nicer person at the end of your exam, which, to be
It's
fair, is
possible.
not going to be a big leap.
You ponder your options for searching Magistrate's room. If you take a quick look around, go to section 201. If you open the door to the study, go to section 17. If you use Penetritzel to gaze through the door to the study, go to section 159. If you use Penetritzel to gaze through the wall next to the study door, go to section 30. If you wish to leave the room and fail the scenario, go to section 100.
Okay, it's got to be Penetritzel, I think. So, do we want to Penetritzel the door, or do we want to Penetritzel the wall? So I can't help thinking if I were going to trap something, I'd trap the door. This poor woman could be completely harmless.
I have a slightly more important question.
Yeah?
Yes, why did the word Penetritzel just come into my head to the tune of the Macarena? Because it fits.
Hey, Penetritzel. Yes!
It scans.
I hate you so much!
I can do without that, and I felt I clicked.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to use Penetritzel to gaze through the wall next to the study door.
Okay, section 30.
And we're ignoring the time tracker at this point because I screwed up.
Oh, apparently. Right. No,
You having fun there?
that's interesting.
What's section 30?
Yeah, so I know something weird has happened to my computer, and it's... Oh, that's what weird has happened to my computer. There's a cat on the keyboard. What am I going to do? Right, I'm not going to press the time tracker because we lose if I press the time tracker.
Yep.
You wonder what is behind this wall. Either the study is quite large or the room lies beyond. Curious, you press your brow against the wall and recite the incantation.
Penetritzel.
Penetritzel. Oh, Penetritzel. Roll to cast. Courage, sagacity, and intuition.
Thank you so much, Fish. 5. 8. 5. Doddle. And 6, yeah?
Yeah. Your awareness penetrates the wall and you see a bed.
Hang on.
With some billowing green curtains on the window on the far wall.
I'm
and
taking a
curtain
potion.
to your right that appears to be covering the entrance to the neighbouring room. Probably the mage's private study.
Which actually puts me exactly.
You taking that other potion?
I'm taking the D6, straight D6 potion.
Okay.
Yeah.
The simple wooden bed is wide and looks comfortable in it. It has a thick straw mattress, a pile of warm blankets, and many pillows of various sizes. Almost everything on the bed is green in colour, creating the impression of a mossy landscape. Alas, nobody is here. What a disappointment. The spell expires and your awareness returns to your body. Taking us back to 116.
Everyone's into cushions.
Well, they're very comfortable.
True. Am I going to look through the study door? Oh, I'm going to search the place. I'm going to do the 201.
Quick look around 201.
Yeah. Yep.
Magistra Moonhair's room is nicely furnished, though the 4 small chairs look lost next to the massive wooden table that dominates the room. Maybe she used to own more chairs. A quick peek inside her wardrobe reveals magical gowns, cutlery, plates, a sewing kit, a slender hunting knife, a box of candles, and an unusually large cache of food, considering that the school serves 3 good meals a day. What a weird set of things to keep in a wardrobe.
Yeah, someone rolled the random loot table from The Witcher.
Yeah. You are surprised also to find weatherproof clothes and hiking boots. Does Magistra Moonhair have interests outside her research at the school? You know that elves feel a close connection to nature, but from all the mud on her boots, the cobwebs on the sleeves of her suede jacket, and the streaks of dust on her trousers, you suspect she spends her free time exploring caves.
It's going to be that damn sealed door in the cellar.
2 unadorned boxes draw your eye. One contains a skillfully carved flute made from a lightweight wood you cannot identify. The other contains almost a dozen roughly carved wooden figurines of unknown purpose. You place everything back where you found it and close the wardrobe doors.
So we've
Return
got a
to
Blood
section.
Bowl team.
Yeah, she's got her collection of Warhammer minis and a flute.
Let's Penetritzel the study. Actually, no, let's not Penetritzel. Let's just open the door to the study. How bad can it be? 17. Hello, I clicked on 17.
Yeah, that's not 17.
That's not 17. To be fair, that's what the second error we found. Oh,
yeah, I mean, there's hundreds of entries on here, and they mostly work.
Yes.
I'm a little disappointed that this has been around for a while and no reported these flaws to. We may need to actually. I'm sure we should have made a note of these.
Yeah.
Let them know, but.
Yes.
Right, 17.
Yeah.
The inner door has no keyhole, but it is locked. An indentation resembling a slightly skewed 8-pointed star sits where the keyhole should be. Magistra Moonhair must use a magic key to secure the inner door. No sense trying to pick the lock with mundane tools. Magistra probably also reinforces the door with magic. Even if you were as strong as Magistra Olya says you should be, you couldn't break through this door.
Penetritzel. Penetritzel.
Right, 159 then. And ignoring the time check.
Yep.
Entering Magistra Moonhair is risky enough, but entering her private study, your heart beats faster as you imagine what it might conceal. You press your brow against the wall and recite the incantation, Macarena, Macarena. Roll to cast Macarena. Sagacity, courage, and intuition.
So much. Okay, 1.
And apply a -3 penalty.
Oh.
We had a -3 penalty previously. We didn't,
No.
did we? But we already suspect that the door is magically reinforced. It's presumably also
Oh, brilliant.
magically resistant.
Is that in the Discord, Alexia, or did you tweet it? That's a 1-1 so far. 1-1-5. They're all going to make it.
Hey.
But I am really running low on AEs now.
138.
I'm going to have to look now, aren't I?
Oh, Alexia, you're...
Oh, God. Oh, good Lord.
The
fish, no.
is magically shielded. No surprise there. After all, you are trying to gaze into a teacher's sanctum. Levangan's professors safeguard their private research. Although mages often cooperate on projects, they remain rivals of sorts and compete for recognition for their independent work. Discoveries make careers, and mages reveal their findings only when confident they will receive the proper recognition for their achievements. Magistra Moonhair's study is simple and orderly. A comfortable-looking chair sits under a window covered by green curtains that darken the room. Next to the chair is a table carved with countless hunting scenes. You are certain a door lies beneath the green curtain on the opposite wall to your left. A tall bookshelf holds many volumes and scrolls, and above it hangs a sturdy-looking ritual sword.
Probably
The
ritual.
room holds no clues. Ritual. The room holds no clues regarding the mage's current research. The desktop is bare except for an inkwell, a quill, and a few sheets of blank parchment. Books are all standard textbooks and teacher references, and you see no curious items Magistra Moonhair might use for research. You admire the impressive tidiness of her room, regret finding nothing that hints at her work. Spitefully, you wonder if she has difficulty performing research by herself. These thoughts cancel your spell prematurely, hurling your awareness back through the door to your body. The sudden termination of the spell makes you nauseous, and you need a moment to rest. So that's back to 116, and we've done all the options. So we will go have I suppose we'll have to go and wait outside
Brutal's door.
Brutal's.
I know it's
Yes.
Brutum. I want to wait outside Brutal's door.
Brutal, yes.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, wait patiently at section 29 is the only we didn't do.
That's all I hadn't
Again,
done, yeah.
we'll ignore the time check.
Yeah.
Patiently, you sit down on the stone bench next to Magister Brutum's room. Today is supposed to be your graduation day, but instead, all you seem to do is sit around waiting. You do not have time for this. While you wait, your thoughts begin to wander. Soon you realize the word wait resembles the word wart. Witches have many warts, as the common folk say. Witches, warts, waiting. You try to think of something else, but your mind soon wanders to curses, diseases, pyres, and the Midden Realm's brutal Inquisition, which killed hundreds of innocent people. Depressingly, some people in the Vangan think all witches are evil. You follow your gloomy thoughts for a time, but soon grow tired of waiting. You want to act. Go to section 6. We've done everything at section 64, so right. Yeah, how? What have we missed?
I think it is. I think it's the cat. I think it's bloody Nivea.
You reckon we asked the wrong question of Nivea?
I think we asked the wrong question of Nivea, and that's it. That shafts you for the entire thing. So I'm going back to talk to Nivea. Nivea the cat.
Okay, well, 195 is where we asked the question.
Was it 195? Okay.
Yeah. So last time we asked where Aurelian was.
Yes, and that just
we asked
took me.
Where Moonhair is, or should we ask where both of them are?
Let's ask where both of them are, because I reckon they're at a party. It's like my graduation party or something. And Alexia, that is brilliant. Thank you so much. You nailed them.
Nivea's ear twitches as she listens to your question. Then she jumps down from the cloth that serves as her throne and runs off through the hallways. You have trouble following her, just like we did last time, because she takes the shortcuts that she did last time, beneath furniture, and sometimes climbs a tall shelf and makes a daring leap for no discernible reason at all. Slightly different wording, but basically the same thing. They didn't copy-paste this one, so it may not have an error in it.
Yep.
You follow the cat up. You follow the cat up, down. You follow the cat up and down many flights of stairs, all the way to the cellar. Nivea runs straight towards an intersection of hallways, slows to walk, and then stops, pricking up her ears. She raises her head and tenses, fixing her gaze on a wardrobe or something beneath it. Suddenly, she lunges at whatever is lurking there. 2 mice flee for their lives in opposite directions, squeaking shrilly. At first, you think both will escape, but the cat appears a moment later and scratches one of the hapless rodents, and catches one of the hapless rodents in her paw. She strikes it 3 times and then bites down hard on its neck. Fascinated and disgusted by the spectacle, you watch as Nivea swiftly dispatches her prey. Satisfied that it will not run off, she turns and races after the other mouth. Well, I think she's just killed Moonhair, now she's going after the food.
I think she has. You
examine the bloodied mouse. Why did you think Nivea could lead you to Magister Aurelian? Disappointed, you debate your next turn to section.
Did you say 195? Sorry, was the question.
I believe it was 195. Yes.
Right. I'm not going to 195.
Okay, so 130 is the question we have asked. Let's just go and have a look. No, you know what? She just takes you to Moonhair's
room. Yeah, 57.
It's not the cat. What? How?
No, there are other options. No, it's not. Hang on. Let's go to the 100 because there is more I can do with Nivea that requires me downing a load of potions. So I am going to down one of the big potions, which will get me 13 points of magic back.
So, are you actually going to go to 37 and try and transform yourself?
Yes.
And look, there we have stats for your transformed cat character.
Yay! So I'm going to turn myself into a cat. On 37.
That it lists just the 2 spells in it.
Salander can be anything, but I don't know if Wolfpaw is something specific. Oh, yeah, we're back at the kitten.
So you choose one or the other. You do both. So it's whichever one you know.
Yeah.
Basically.
I don't. know which one I know, so let's have a look. Okay, Magpie, fair enough. Yeah, miffed now.
Okay, good night.
This is just purely me being miffed. I know I know both.
Well, no, it's on the list, the page that describes the spells.
Yeah.
It says, "Note: choose either Salander or Wolfpaw. See below. Your character does not know."
Okay, I'm going to take Wolfpaw because that's cheaper. Because Salander is 16.
Salander costs more AE to cast, but maintains the target's original life points after transformation. Wolfpaw costs less arcane energy, but limits the target's life point other stats to those of the chosen animal, and that's the difference.
I'm going to take Wolfpaw.
Salander is the version from the core rules.
Yep.
Whereas Wolfpaw is in the Magic Arturia.
So, courage, intuition, and agility. Oh, God.
Yeah, this scenario I obtained as part of the Kickstarter for Magic Arturia. Just out of interest. That's where I got it from in the first place.
I'm kittening out. Okay, so courage. I'm burning 1 point of my skill to bring that down to the 13. Intuition, I made easily. Agility.
I love that they've actually got a result here for if you critically fail.
3. So I made that. I made that by 7. So I've got 6 points left of my skill ranks.
I want to go and look at 178, which is the critical fail. Okay, so we're actually going to section 204. I want to read the critical fail first.
178 and 204.
You focus on turning into a cat and succeed. Your clothes seem to grow and fall around you and your vantage point changes. You feel an annoying itch behind your right ear and casually scratch it with your right hind leg. And you lick your front right paw and start cleaning yourself. You want to look your best. This is her territory and you want her to accept it. This does not prove easy. For several months, you follow her as she prowls throughout the school. You even share your mice with her. Initially, the mages were very interested in you. They examined you, waved their silly sticks, and muttered dull sounds at you. But they soon grew bored and focused on other things. You eventually gained Nivea's favour, and the two of you start a growing cat family and live comfortable cat lives within the halls of the school. The end. Oh, that is beautiful.
That's fantastic. Really, fortunately, I didn't critical fail.
Yeah, that's a treble 20. Treble 20 is a fumble in this system.
That's brilliant.
Absolutely love it. So 204 was what we actually got, which is 2 time checks.
Yeah, we ignore that.
You focus on turning into a cat and succeed. Your clothes seem to grow and fall around. Your vantage point changes. You feel an annoying itch behind your right ear and casually scratch it with your right hind leg. Then you lick your front right paw and start cleaning yourself. You must look your best. This is Nivea's territory and you want her to accept you. When your mind is once again your own, you are sitting naked in a supply closet.
Naked?
Luckily, you're near the tailor's room where you left your clothes. Your body is covered in scratches. You are exhausted and your skull aches. Your memories of the previous hour are vague. You recall hazy images of running through school with Nivea, visiting the interior courtyard, the cellar, and what is that? The taste of raw mouths in your mouth? Yuck! Unfortunately, you did not learn the whereabouts of Archmage Aurelian. But then again, why did you expect Nivea to give you a clear answer to your question? You dress quickly and pick up your gear. So that doesn't do it either.
That doesn't do it either. What the hell did we miss?
God. Somewhere we have utterly managed to miss the plot.
Yeah. It's got to be the cellar, because that's where everything's pointing.
Yeah, everything is indeed pointing to the cellar.
But I don't think there were any choices there, were there?
Go back to the cellar and see what we miss.
Got the Master Abductor, the Forbidden Portal.
No, there's no option to actually look behind the Forbidden.
I'm baffled, Fish. Did we manage to misclick or something? Breaking and entering the Archmage's room. Yes, we didn't B&E the Archmage. I could have tried breaking in through the window, Fish, and I didn't.
Yeah, I suppose maybe going in through the window in the first place that we never did.
Yeah.
Right back at the very start of the
Yeah.
game.
I'm just trying... Because that's what I wanted to do when we went back to Magister Aurelian's room. I'm just tracking through
Yeah, we weren't
to
we
where...
weren't given the option second time round.
Yeah.
We could wait for him to return or go back to 100.
Yeah.
Wait, no, just a board made. Continue to wait.
Peek inside through one of
Yeah,
the
then
windows.
we've got the thing about persistence and
Yeah. Okay, 52
total
is
waste
peeking
of-
in through his window. 30 feet up.
Right. Let's go back to 30 feet up then, shall we?
Okay.
Section 114 to risk climbing the ledge.
Yep.
Push open the window and face a cold breeze. As you climb onto the ledge, you are suddenly reminded of an old assignment concerning the die analogy. One day during class, Magister Moonhair waxed philosophical about an icosahedron, that is, a 20-sided die. Each side is basically identical. Now I need a voice for Magister Moonhair, and I haven't got one yet. Do we think she's vicious and evil? So she needs a vicious and evil.
I think she's Servalan.
What? You think I can't do Servalan. Can't even come close to Servalan.
Alexis just pointed out there's the people in the dining room, because I talked to the kid. But there were also maids there who buggered off by the time I'd finished talking to the kid.
Yes, we didn't talk. We didn't talk to the maids in the dining room. That's correct. Each side is basically identical except numbers, she said, and each roll of the die usually produces different results. You learned that rolling a die 20 times does not guarantee that all 20 numbers will appear. During your experiment, the number 14 turned up 3 times. Your lab partner obtained 5 results of 7. You never obtained those results, even though you conducted the experiment 2 additional times. The teacher assigned an essay linking the die with fate, magical talent, and the circumstances surrounding people's births. You defended the hypothesis that the gods allow fate, essentially the roll of a die, to determine the course of everyone's lives start birth. Statistically, every human has a chance of exhibiting magical talent, but few possess the gift. Fate favors some people and ignores others, and nobody has yet discovered a way to look inside a person and know which it will be. You argued in your essay that even a goblin with no magical talent still develops other abilities, such as swimming or climbing. You wrote that trained mages are sometimes less skilled than goblins in many ways, though you pointed out that this matters little because mages solve problems with magic. And what use is something like climbing skill compared to that? The Moonhair witch may have given you a passing grade for her class, but she did not award you the honours you expected. Crouched here outside the window, you realise why your final exam might lead to your doom, as you have no spells that grant the ability to climb, fly, or teleport. Your grandfather was right. The most valuable skill in the world is the one that helps you live to see another day. Perhaps he should also have mentioned that mages are ill-suited for climbing because robes get in their way. You take a deep breath of cool air to calm your nerves and then look for the Archmage's window. It is to your left, about 6 feet away along a ledge 1 handspan wide. Make a climbing walls check. Courage, agility, and strength with a -2 penalty.
Oh my god.
If you fail, go to section 68 for a graphic description of your horrible death.
Yes. Okay, climb walls. Climbing. Okay. Oh, I've got no ranks in it. I am purely on the dice.
So, yeah, 1 failed attribute check, and it's all over for Dratty.
Was it courage, strength, and agility, yeah?
Courage, agility, and strength in battle.
-2. So 11, which is bang on what I need for courage. This does not bode well. I need 8s.
Yes.
5.
And then what is it, 8s again?
Yeah, 8s again. This stands between me and Pavement Pancake. 8.
Was that 8?
Yeah. Did it.
You Gemini beggar.
Jesus.
As cumbersome as your mage's robe might be, you cross the ledge with the skill of the school's resident cat Nivea. People believe was a former student who
What
accidentally
page are we
and
on, sorry?
permanently transformed herself into a feline. 215.
215, thank you.
You grip the wall like a mountain goat as you peer through Magister Aurelian's. You've never seen his room, but you have heard tales. Compared to your dorm room, it is a mansion. His opulent bed, covered with blue veils, sits in one side chamber, and you think you can see a cast iron bathtub in another side chamber. What luxury! And this is not an eye-catching piece of furniture. Archmage Aurelian's huge, impressively carved desk dominates the room. It sits between two 9-foot shelves stuffed with books and rolls of parchment. Only a true artist. We've had this description.
Yeah.
Let's spin on to...
Yeah, we've had the fight that the table
Anything
carved
you
fight
don't
figures are
see is
moving.
Magister Aurelian.
Yeah. Or Magister
that just gives us exactly the same information as doing it magically.
Yeah.
You must find Magister Aurelian and gather evidence. Go to section
167.
67. Yeah.
Which takes
Never
you to
searched
100.
Magister Aurelian's room, so a return trip might be in order. But the return trip won't let us actually search the room.
No.
So that's a red herring.
You can't break in. You can't climb in through the window.
Yeah, no, I'm really thoroughly confused.
I'm going to go to the dining room.
I can only assume that I have this suspicious feeling original theory was correct.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to click through a few things and...
Oh, apparently your character's a fella.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything on the character sheet, but there are a couple of places that do seem to indicate
I'm
that,
checking out 187, which is talking to the maids in the dining room. The maids don't react when you enter the large room. You know little about them beyond their names, Altoona and Berna, and that they're on twin sisters. This is how a Reader's Wives article starts. They're about the same age as you, and you know they started working at the school last winter. You've had little to do with them so far, but the rumours about the beautiful twins have painted a very clear picture. You've heard they worship the love goddess Rania, and allegedly both are very, very passionate to pursue the goal of securing a well-situated future, mostly in the beds of older studiosi. While you're still wondering if you're really the only one who never felt like joining the courtship of one of them, oh, there's a mood, they are already taking notice of you. Clenching their lips vigorously to provoke a stronger red, Altoona plucks her dress down to emphasise her lush cleavage, while Bernia strives to achieve the same effect by perkily heaving her breasts upwards. Really? Oh, they're awful. Is there anything we can assist you with? Asked Bernia, while Altoona winks at you with her eyes. Yes. As opposed to what?
What she's going to wink with.
I think we've just fallen down a translation gap. And has a broad faux smile on her lavish lips. Inevitably, you feel the heat rise to your face as the two move even closer. You're getting more and more uncomfortable. Well, I wanted... the two are giggling and your face is burning like fire. I like it when men are coy, whispers Bernia softly. I'm not a bloke. Altoona just gives you a passionate look, then her sister continues, whatever we can help you with, I'm sure we can do a lot better in our room. You try to swallow, but your throat's dry. What kind of situation did you just stumble into? You've never had anything to do with ladies in the manner suggested. You feel pressured and insecure. The offer's tempting, and the rising and falling breasts in front of you underline it with every breath. But you also know this shouldn't be the time to do it, and you have very plausible concern you might be the butt of a nasty joke here. Why are these two trying so hard to seduce you? This has to be some ulterior motive. Oh, Fex and Rania just blessing your way. Come, we only bite a little. Yikes! Says Altoona, and then she takes your hand and leads you on. Am I following her to section 6, or am I pulling away and taking some distance between them on 134? I'm concerned about these two. I'm very concerned. Fish, we're into the weeds here.
Yeah.
Could you do me a favour and just check that 6 is safe for Twitch? Hot, dangerous,
Sorry?
and difficult.
Oh dear Lord.
Is that a yes or a no?
Just about, but only just.
See, I'm thinking more of the, get thee behind me, or at least get me at least 6 feet away. I need some social distancing here. We're also, Moliere, I think we are seriously falling down on the translation is perhaps not all it could be. So the wording is not necessarily the greatest it could be.
Well, other than a ménage à trois, you don't get anything useful.
Okay. Fair enough. We'll skip over that then.
You do lose 3 time checks.
Okay. I'm going to 134. I want to practice some social distancing. Maybe a little rude, but you withdraw your hand. Even if they're both serious and you're not certain they are, now is not the time to give in to your carnal desires. The 2 sisters, of course, seem to see it differently. Shortly they try to convince you, but you remain steadfast. The 2 instantly resent you as they see the futility of their efforts to seduce you. While Latuna just gives you a withering look, Berna adds snappishly you've missed something that others would have given an arm or a leg for. Then the 2 step away so hastily you forget to ask them both about it. Asmagus, Aurelian. You see what I mean about the translation. However, you wouldn't have been expected an answer either. You take a moment to calm your breathing, sort yourself out, and let the dizziness pass. Then you remember the other student who you hoped didn't witness this embarrassing exchange. You look around, but he's nowhere in sight. The dining hall is empty. You made a sound you didn't think people could make. I literally have no idea where we went wrong, but clearly we've gone wrong somewhere.
I'm going back over some of the options now, and I'm not finding it.
No. So, what I am going to do is I'm going to suggest that since it's gone 11, we go to 111, accept the failure. And
you decide to stop at the dining hall to see if anything remained from dinner. Though in a hurry, you take your usual shortcut across the garden. Fios's disc hangs low in the sky, casting long shadows in the courtyard. Deep in thought, you fail to notice somebody approaching until they tap you on the shoulder. You turn around and catch only a glimpse of someone wearing a grey cloak and hood. A hand darts forward and touches your forehead, and you hear words spoken softly. Then your consciousness drifts away. You wake in your own bed shortly after sunrise. The previous day is a blur. You recall leaving your room to take your final exam. You know you failed, but you cannot remember how. Puzzled but undeterred, you return to your studies and await the next chance to take the exam, more determined than ever to prove that you are a great mage. The end.
Yes, I literally have no idea where we went wrong. Not a clue. I do not know at all.
I've been going through some of the options we didn't take,
Yeah.
and I'm not finding.
No, this is a definite case of the 5-finger bookmarks.
Yeah.
I never went to see Master Hawk the groundskeeper, you know.
No.
I'm just wondering what happens at Master Hawk the groundkeeper.
How do you even get to Master Hawk the groundkeeper?
I don't know. Oh, good lord. Let's assume that. Pardon me. Yeah, that's definitely where you need to go, but how you get there, I don't know. You think Catwife was the happy ending? I think you could be right.
I think, yeah, Catwife was definitely the happy ending.
I think Catwife was very much the happy ending. Happily raising a load of adopted kittens. Okay. This has been oodles of fun.
Utterly. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun, but I am utterly baffled as to where we went wrong.
I'm
What
not
did
going
we
to
miss?
let this stand, of course. However, I will do it offline, and I will try and sort out how exactly you get to any kind of the plot, because I literally stalled out. But I think that was entirely down to me. So I've really enjoyed this. It has been great fun. I'm very much looking forward to playing the Dark Eye properly again with my battle mage of the white mages, as opposed to the grey mages, who are clearly all completely out of their trees, and occasionally in someone else's. So yes, I will bid you a good night. I hope you've enjoyed it. I think chat seems to have enjoyed it. Some translation weirdnesses notwithstanding, this holds up. But yeah, the plot, it's really easy to fuck up the plot. And definitely a 5-finger bookmark job. I think. So, what day is it? Yeah, we made some very sensible choices, and as a result, we got bashed on the back of the head, metaphorically, and dumped in bed.
Yeah.
Or end up married to a wife. A cat wife, but you know.
To a cat. Yeah.
So, tomorrow, Fish, are you up for Masters of Orion?
Probably not, to be honest, because I'm working Thursday.
Right.
Which means I'm going to need an early night.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Okie dokie then.
Yeah.
I shall endeavour
so a game
to
like Masters of Orion, which is a bit of a sort of run-on type game, I don't know that we'd be able to get a long enough stream to be worth playing it.
Will we get to see another solo at some time? I don't know if there are any other solos for this.
I know we did the Vampire of Ravenna, but did we just do it, you and I?
Yeah.
Or did we actually do it on stream?
No, we just did it, you and me.
So we've got the Vampire of Ravenna, which we've done it before, but I don't know how well Drat remembers it.
I do remember none of it.
What we could do with the Vampire of Ravenna, of course, is allow chat to make the decisions, because we've been through the scenario once before, but if chat makes all the decisions...
Now there's a thought.
Then effectively you guys could play one of these solos with us reading it out to you.
Yeah. Would you be interested in that? Because I'd be down for that. I only remember it a tiny bit.
The other thing, of course, is that there are the Fighting Fantasy game books that we have.
Yep, I've got
Steam.
more.
You did Starship Traveller.
Yep.
As a chat making decisions, a deciding thing before you moved on to Darkest Dungeon.
Yep.
But there's at the very least Forest of Doom.
Oh, I've got loads. I've got half a dozen.
Whichever one. I mean, all the ones that are available as individual programs, I've got, which means you've got access to.
I've got them all in my own right.
I think I also bought Warlock of Firetop Mountain, which was the very first in the Fighting Fantasy Classics, is it called?
Yes, I've got that.
I have a feeling I bought Warlock of Firetop Mountain. And
cool.
As I say, that is the first of the Fighting Fantasy game books.
So the answer is yes. At some point in the near distant, you can expect another solo setup. And yeah, I'll let you throw the decisions in, because you can't do worse than me. Okay. So I will call it for that tonight. There will be a stream tomorrow. I'm not sure what I will stream tomorrow, but I will be streaming something tomorrow. About 7:30. Maybe Banished. Just for giggles. Because that doesn't get enough love. So...
No, it doesn't. It's a really nice game.
Yeah. And then Thursday I'm back on the Dark Eye again, because I will be back on the Chains of Saturnav. So I will thank you guys. It's been great fun having you here. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad you seem to have done. Thank you for the art, Alexia. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I will leave you with the thoughts of the mad hippie alchemist in the basement, and the ultimate fate, which is Catwife. So, so good.